Good morning, folks. It is 5:57 in the morning. I don't usually go live at this time in the morning, but we have breaking news to report from Port Neches, Texas, and that is that a refinery plant explosion was reported early this morning in Port Neches, Texas, and this is the report from ABC 13, that's the ABC owned and operated network from Houston, Texas. And it says that three workers have been injured after a refinery explosion rocked the area near around Port Neches Wednesday morning. The Netherlands Fire Department responded around 1 a.m. Central Time, that's 2 a.m. New York time. The TPC plant exploded off of Highway 366 near Merriman, that's near Netherlands, and Belmont, about 95 miles east of Houston. TPC says that the injured workers are being treated. Jefferson County Judge Jeff Brackes says that there are no reports of major injuries to people outside the plant right now. Everyone working in the plant has been accounted for. And this is a tweet from Jeff Healing from ABC 13, who is in the plant. And it says people living a half mile of the plant are being evacuated, while those who living within the mile of the plant are encouraged to be evacuated. Jefferson County is in the process of setting up shelters in the evacuation zones. Families outside the evacuation zone are encouraged to shelter in place. Reports suggest windows were blown into homes up to 10 miles away of the plant. Let's see, we good. Right now it's 6 a.m. in New York, 7 a.m. in Puerto Rico, 5 a.m. in Houston. Alright, let's see if we could get this working. Okay, that right there, that's the plant. And that is the fire. Okay, I think if we do it via Facebook, it could be a little bit better. time is 6:02 on this Wednesday morning. Okay, they got it fixed. But still it's lagging. We're gonna activate plan B. Okay, this is the ABC affiliate. Okay, we're gonna go to a very local source.
Rain up around the Beaumont area, and then there's some more rain down towards Sabine Lake. But as far as rain right over the area where we're seeing the fire, we're just not seeing that right now. I want to zoom into this area, and we'll zoom into Port.
Oops, we're having a technical glitch at this time in the morning. Okay, the time is 6:05 in New York, 7:05 in Puerto Rico, and 5:05 in Houston.
There in Fort Neches, Lauren. Tracy and Vanessa, according to Mike White, Emergency Management Coordinator, he says the wind is actually working in emergency crew's favor. Now, there's a couple of chemicals housed at that facility. Now, White says they're treating it like it's the most serious chemical, butadiene. It's a colorless gas with a gasoline-like odor. Some people tweeting at us that they can smell something in the air. Now, it is used to produce synthetic rubber products, think things like tires, plastics, and other chemicals. Now, long-term exposure has been associated with cardiovascular disease and cancer. That's why it is so important to monitor the air quality. White says the TCEQ is on the scene to monitor that air quality. Now, we reached out to them for an update, but we have not heard back. Now, according to White, he says this is why that there is a shelter in place in so many areas. It is a precaution at this time. He says in response to questions over air quality, they'll continue to monitor it and they'll continue to keep us posted as to what folks need to know and what folks should do. Now, according to the spokesperson for the plant, their focus is safety, also minimizing any impact to the environment. And let's have a look at what you guys are saying this morning. So Ashley says we live on Cypress in Port Neches, about a quarter mile. Our house felt like a pressure cooker. We live in a brick home, our front door blew in, and our garage caved. Krista says we're off 10th Street in Port Neches, about a mile and a half from the plant. The boom blew out our back door, the frame completely destroyed. Vanessa saying we're 11 miles north, we heard the boom and it rocked our home, hope everyone's okay. Emmett saying, felt it in Bridge City and as far away as in Vinton and Sulphur. And another person saying they could feel it all the way in Lake Charles. So guys, many of our employees woke up hearing the sounds of this. A lot of questions through this chaos, but the good news is 3 people reported injured, no fatalities in this plant explosion. So we're going to get a live look at the scene with our very own Rachel Keller. She's been here since the morning. Rachel, what's the latest?
Lauren, earlier this morning I referenced some black debris, black dust that was on some of the plant workers' faces that evacuated to a gas station nearby, getting closer to the actual fire, about a quarter of a mile away from where this thing is still blazing. You can see just how massive this fire is. The smoke fills the air, plummeting into the air, just filling the sky with black. We're here on Merriman Street, and if I step out of the scene, you can see just how massive this fire is. We have viewers writing into us saying that, yes, the wind is blowing, and it's a good thing for first responders, but that smoke is blowing to the northwest on top of people's homes. They're saying that their homes are immersed in it. They're immersed in the black smoke. Now, in this particular area, we do have a shelter in place closer to this plant is an evacuation order here in Port Neches. A lot of folks here have evacuated to gas stations. We headed over to the Citgo gas station off of Magnolia Avenue. Folks were there telling me just how scary it was hearing that loud boom this morning. I even heard another one just moments ago. One man says that boom knocked him out of his chair. He says him and his family grabbed their 4-year-old, their 2-year-old, and they jumped out of the house and drove to Silsbee. They were that afraid. Another woman from Groves says that she originally thought it was thunder. She was terrified. She didn't know what was going on, and then they saw what was in the sky, and they immediately responded by just leaving the house. Now, in this area, what is close nearby is the Summit Apartments. This is in Port Neches. This is right by the Jack in the Box. Now, the family that had to evacuate with their family and the young children, they say every single window, every single door is bursted out at that apartment complex. So as soon as the sun starts to peek out here, we're going to head over there and see what we're looking at. Many folks are just running rampant, confused, and there you hear it. If you didn't hear it right now, there was another boom. And the smoke right now you can't really smell it, which is a good thing. But I'm more worried about the folks that have this smoke just blasting into their homes and multiple windows and doors bursted out here in this evacuation area. And we still have a shelter in place here for Port Neches and Groves until 6 o'clock. And they say to please remain inside your homes if possible. Guys, back to you.
Yes, and I want to mention, Rachel, thank you for that report, that the entire city of Groves is under a shelter in place, and so we don't know what's in the air at this time. The TCEQ is monitoring, the air is being monitored, the water is being monitored by the Coast Guard as well, so a lot going on in Port Neches and Groves at this hour.
Yeah, she's saying that she's not smelling that gasoline smell, which is good.
But it's odorless.
Well, they said that there's a mild, like colorless, but a mild gasoline
So
smell.
you may not smell anything if you are out and about, so just be careful. But you may start feeling a little lightheaded.
Right. Let me bring up some of those symptoms if you're wondering, how can I tell if I've smelled this or if I've been exposed to it and you're concerned? As you know, I mean, it's a concern. You see all that black, thick smoke, and it's a chemical. It's a dangerous chemical, butadiene. They're treating it, as Mike White said, that there are a couple of chemicals that this plant produces. The most dangerous is butadiene. They're not sure if that's exactly the chemical that's burning up. They will learn that as they get in and take care of the fire and put out the flames, which is their big concern right now. But butadiene, acute high exposure, let's emphasize that, can cause damage to the central nervous system, can cause symptoms such as distorted blurred vision, vertigo, you may feel dizzy, general tiredness, decreased blood pressure, a headache, nausea,
decreased pulse rate, and fainting. So chronic effects caused by exposure, they say they're controversial, but it can lead to cancer and other significant problems. So that's why they're taking all the precautions that they can. The TCEQ is out there right now monitoring the air quality. They are also shutting down the Neches waterway to test the water quality. So they have a plan of action. The emergency response teams have been put into place. They've requested assistance from Port Neches Fire Department and Huntsman as well, and they are getting this taken care of, getting it under control as quickly as possible. But right now, you're just asked to stay in place, and Jeff, you are continuing to monitor the air conditions, the wind conditions right now.
Yeah, and that's been the big issue is where is this stuff going once it gets up into the atmosphere. Right now we're seeing a northwesterly wind, and we're going to continue to see those northerly winds as we go through. Looks like this morning into this afternoon, thanks to a cold front that has pushed through. The front now is working its way down towards the Gulf of Mexico, and you can see winds right now out of the northwest, anywhere between about, say, 10 to 16 miles per hour. As we take a look outside over towards the orange area, we're seeing a north wind there at about, say, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Temperature's cooling off a little bit now, back into the upper 60s. As far as the rain, we had a little bit of rain earlier that helped the fire just some, but now that's pushing off towards the south along that front. We have a few isolated little light showers up towards Beaumont here, up towards the western end of Orange County. But those are working their way off towards the east, so that's not going to help the fire at all. Matter of fact, I don't really expect much as far as any more rain in the Port Neches area. Maybe a little bit of a sprinkle, something like that, but that's about it. The big problem right now is where is this stuff going to go once it gets into the atmosphere? Right now, with a northwesterly wind coming in, that's going to push everything off towards the south and east. So whatever is in the atmosphere is going to be heading off towards the south, southeast. So that's going to put it into areas like Rose, maybe down towards Griffin Park, Port Arthur eventually. Depends on how far it's going to take all this stuff that gets up into the atmosphere. So that's why they've issued a shelter in place in the Groves area. And I think they also were talking about the orange area until about 6 o'clock. And I think they put that in place earlier because the winds were light. So this stuff kind of floating up all over the place. But now it's headed in more of a southeasterly direction with those northwesterly winds. So if you live in the Groves area, once again, shelter in place. You need to be careful down that section of Jefferson County.
And you can continue to follow all of the latest information on air and online, 12newsnow.com, as well as our 12 News Now social media pages. All right, if you're just waking up and you're wondering what in the world's going on, because there's so much concern, we have been covering this since 1 o'clock. Let's go over some of the main points of what happened. So just after 1 o'clock this morning, there was an explosion reported at TPC Group in Port Neches, the plant there in Port Neches, just after 1 o'clock. Multiple, some people reported multiple explosions, one and then a couple of other explosions following that. This is located at 136, Highway 136 in Port Neches. It's a processing unit. What we know is that it produces a couple of different chemicals. One of them, the most significant, most dangerous, is highly flammable. It's butadiene. It is used to make synthetic rubber products, tires and plastics, that kind of thing. And so that's what they believe is on fire right here. We do not know yet what caused the explosion. They will learn that. But what we do know is that everybody has been accounted for. Everyone is safe. There were 3 injuries. We know one, as reported by Jefferson County Judge Jeff Brannick, was a broken arm. Another, the person was treated and released. Kelsey Johnson reporting that she believed that one person was taken by helicopter as they had them set up at the Jack Brooks Airport to be taken to Houston, how they had significant injuries. We are told that none of these are real significant, and the great news, no fatalities.
Such great news to report to you this morning. We are getting bombarded right now as we speak with multiple people writing in saying they're hearing more rumblings, more small explosions coming from the plants. Our Kelsey Johnson is standing by. Kelsey, are you hearing anything at this time?
Vanessa, yes, and I was actually just going to touch base on that. So far, I've heard 2 just right when as y'all were speaking a while ago, probably 30, 45 seconds ago, another explosion happened out here. Now, they're not big explosions, but there are rumblings, things that we can hear. That fire, again, they're working, trying to contain it. It's still not completely under control. Again, there's several tanks around the area that they are concerned about, that they are, going to be monitoring right now. As y'all had mentioned, yes, all the employees have been accounted for. 3 injuries. They have actually evacuated all the employees. The only ones that are there right now are emergency crews and fire crews, and they've been bringing in more fire crews, firefighters, more tanks, more hoses to try to get out there to battle that fire, to get it under control and get this situation hopefully going in the right direction. And that's exactly what Sarah Cronin with TPC Group, she's the PIO, the one that I've been talking to. She said that is their main focus right now, is getting this under control, the situation under control, so they can kind of let us know what's going on, and they can get a little bit better understanding on what is going on right now. So as soon as we kind of get that information, we'll let you know. In case you haven't been watching this morning, they have shut down Sabine Neches waterway. The Coast Guard is here right now monitoring that water. As soon as we get some more information, as soon as they get some of the results in, we're going to let you know. We've been on the phone with Jefferson County Judge Jeff Brannick, Jefferson County Emergency Management Coordinator Mike White. They've been keeping us updated on the information. We've been calling, I've been trying to call between hits to try and get some more information. The only other update I've got right now is we actually did have someone call about the stand alerts. I did speak with Mike White, and he said that those are only being sent out right now to people who are impacted in the area. So if you didn't get an alert, he said you're not in the impact area right now. Now, again, it's anyone who's living half a mile from the plant, and they've also extended it to anybody who's living southwest of 136. So a quarter of a mile southwest from 136. The mayor of Groves has issued a shelter in place. That's as a precaution. So if you do live in Groves, they're asking you to stay indoors. Some other information I want to give, again, several fire crews are out here battling the fire. TCEQ is also here. They're going to be monitoring the air quality. We haven't got an update from them just yet. I've been trying to call and see if there's any new updates, any new information. Right now, not yet. They are monitoring the air, and they're trying to get all that information to us as quickly as possible so we can get it out to you guys and let you know what's going on. Because I know that's a concern right now. A lot of people saying that they're smelling a foul odor in the air. I can smell a slight odor in the air. Nothing too major right now. I'm not feeling dizzy. My voice is going out because I've been talking so much today, trying to talk and get more information. But as far as me, I'm not feeling lightheaded or dizzy or anything right now. But again, I'm probably a half mile or greater from the plant. So again, people who are living half a mile have been evacuated. They've ordered a mandatory evacuation for some of the neighborhoods that are closest to the plant. And again, Groves, precautionary shelter in place. The mayor's issued that. So if you are in the Groves area, stay in your homes until that has been lifted. As soon as we get some more information, I will let you guys know. I'm gonna as soon as I sign off here, I'm going to be calling, see if they've got any other updates, any other information, maybe something about the air quality, if they've been able to get out there and test that, so I can let you guys know. For now, live in Port Neches, Kelsey Johnson, 12 News.
Kelsey, thank you for that report. And since we've been on the air with you this morning, this is a ongoing situation, and as we learn it, we're letting you know as soon as they text us, tweet us, email us, call us.
And many of you are eyes and ears because it happened to you. You were right there. And one of those viewers, Krista Salter, telling us this morning, the blast woke her up from a deep sleep. She says her baby monitor sits by the window, was thrown about a foot. Her first thought was that a car had crashed into her son's room. She says a mile and a half away, we could feel the floor rumbling. We were on top of a concrete slab. We're praying for everyone impacted at all. One of the scariest moments of my life.
Also waking up scared this morning was Jefferson County Judge Jeff Brannick. He says that his wife ran into the bedroom and woke him up thinking that people were shooting at their home. Let's hear from him right now.
Well, I think the safest route is always going to be to evacuate. And even if you call for a quarter mile or half mile evacuation, if they have relatives that are further away, go visit with your family and get out of the area. Now, I will tell you that Huntsman has some interconnectivity with their pipelines. They shut those all down. There's also a plant in northern part of the county that supplies the plant, and they shut those pipelines down. So, everybody that's concerned has been very proactive in making sure that they shut off any chemicals or refined products that can pose a danger.
Right, this Jefferson County Judge Jeff Brannick, who says he heard the blast at his own home and had damage at his own home. He thought it was somebody shooting, or his wife did, thought it was somebody shooting at their home, and that's how he woke up this morning. Many of you sending us your door camera video as well. This one sent to us from Coach Little. Look at that. Wow,
Right out.
condition. And we just were looking at some photos earlier at the Neches Federal Credit Union on Magnolia Avenue sustained significant damage. Other people having their roofs completely caved in from the blast. It was huge. It was very impactful. People not knowing exactly what it was. The high school had windows blown out. The market basket there, windows blown out. So it was a very scary moment. And you got to figure there were probably some people that had minor injuries from some of these explosions as well. We just haven't even had reported yet.
And, you know, in the grand scheme of things, if you think about, you know, you're looking at this damage, and it's very unfortunate to these people and their homes, but to report to you this morning that there were no fatalities and no serious injuries in this massive plant explosion is pretty much the best case scenario that we could possibly tell you this morning. I mean, coming in this morning not knowing what we were walking into, very nervous, very rattled, along with the first responders. You know, before I came in on my way in, I was on the phone with Port Neches Police Chief Paul Lemoyne, who was nervous himself. He had windows blown out of his home, and he had the doors knocked off his hinges, and he's like, Vanessa, I don't know what to tell the residents right now. I just woke up to this, and I'm heading to the scene right now. And as a first responder, that's what they do. They leave their homes and go help where the help is needed, and that's what he did. And but like so many of you at home, a lot of people woke up worried this morning, and to come in and to talk to these first responders, and as soon as they were able to count all of the staff there and everyone was accounted for, they let us know, we let you know, and that was a big sigh of relief for everyone in Southeast Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. And our own Erica Harris got a phone call from her husband, who was at the plant next door, the Huntsman plant, saying there'd been an explosion. And your heart just drops. I got the call this morning, woke up to there's been a plant explosion, and my initial thought was, oh, please tell me nobody has been killed. Because, I mean, it could have been massive, you know, and for all these homes that are so near the plant. So yes, very fortunate. Now it comes to containing the fire so that it doesn't cause subsequent explosions, which we've heard multiple smaller ones. Nothing significant so far, right? So we're thankful for that. But now it's going into the air that we're all breathing in this morning. And the big concern there is now getting it under control and then monitoring the air conditions, the air quality, and making sure that that doesn't become the bigger problem.
Right, and we are continuing to monitor the wind conditions. A lot of people watching from home this morning because it could determine what happens in your neighborhood as the winds start shifting. You know, Grove's now under a shelter-in-place because of that. They could shift. You know, again, we'll see. We'll check in with Jeff. He's monitoring the conditions in the weather center right now. Any new changes, Jeff, that you could tell us in the last couple of minutes?
No, the winds continue to push out of the north and northwest thanks to that front that went through overnight. The front is now down towards the coast, and the wind's starting to pick up out of the north and west. So if we get a north wind, that means anything that's going up in the air is going to be working its way to the south and southeast. Here are current winds, and right now, out of the north at 12 in Beaumont, north at 13 in Port Arthur, and in Orange, out of the north at about 9 miles per hour. So once again, that means Port Neches, if anything is going up in the atmosphere there, we're going to see those particles drifting off towards the south and southeast. So that type of stuff is going to be drifting down right along 136, down towards 73, towards the Groves area. That's why there's a shelter in place now in the Groves area. And we'll continue to see those winds out of the north throughout the day. I think now that the front is through, those winds are not going to be shifting anymore like they were this morning. Earlier this morning, the front was still to our north, so we had a south wind shifting to a north, back and forth. But now that the front's through, it's going to be a steady north wind as we go through the morning and into the afternoon.
Now the rain completely out of the area for the rest of the day?
There's a few sprinkles out there, but besides that, the rain is now down along the coast. Matter of fact, we'll show you the radar here real quick, and you can see this is over towards Orange. You see the winds out of the north-northeast at about 10 to 13. But there's the radar, and the rain now down at the Gulf of Mexico, and with that front, it's going to continue to work off towards the south There's a couple of sprinkles north of Beaumont, but that's not going to be affecting anybody. So really, the rain is done for the day, and we'll see dry conditions the rest of this morning into really looks like the next couple of days.
Right, a reminder, Mike White with the Jefferson County Emergency Management Coordinator, they're saying the entire city of Groves has a shelter in place. Orange County Judge John Gauthier is shelter in place south of I-10 and Orange. And that one he had issued until 6 o'clock. We'll let you know if that has been extended. But a lot of people are reporting on our Facebook page. Kimberly saying she does smell a gasoline smell in Port Acres. And of course that's has a light gasoline odor. Butadiene is what they believe is burning there. And people asking, what is this chemical, or what does this plant manufacture? Also wanting to know that. Again, we'll let you know that butadiene is used to make synthetic rubber. It is a colorless gas, but it smells a little like gasoline and is used to make rubber products like your tires and synthetic rubber products, a lot of different products there. But long-term exposure has been linked to cardiovascular disease and cancer. We're hoping that they can get it under control before too much of that is released into the air. And you gotta worry about the emergency responders who are there trying to put out the fire as well. Keep them in your thoughts this morning. And a lot of, they requested assistance from Port Neches Fire Department as well as Huntsman. They are, it appears to be, that they are getting a handle on it. The flame that was burning early on at 1 o'clock this morning is significantly smaller, but there have been subsequent explosions.
Right. People around the area and Groves and Port Neches, surrounding neighborhoods, reporting to us that they're feeling more rumblings throughout the morning. Even in the last couple of minutes, we are getting reports from people there on the ground, or reporters even that they are hearing a few small explosions. So this is still ongoing. Firefighters on the ground there trying to get a handle on that. The plant workers have all been accounted for and have been evacuated off the premises. That is great news to report this morning. 3 injuries, 2 non-life-threatening injuries. 1, we have not received word on the extent of their injury, so we're waiting to hear more on that person. But great news to report. No serious injuries here in this massive plant explosion that happened around 1 o'clock this morning at TPC, the plant there in Port Neches, off Texas 366 and Spur 136. We have crews all over Southeast Texas in that area, talking to residents, getting a feel of what they heard this morning. We are getting so many pictures and videos from our viewers. Look at this glass shattered all over home there in the Port Neches area. We are hearing that doors have been knocked off hinges, tiles have fallen on the floor from ceilings. Not just homes, businesses. Port Neches Groves High School has some damage. So this was a very, very powerful explosion around 1 o'clock this morning. And once again, don't go out, don't try to go see the damage, or go try to see the explosion, the flames, whatever. That is all blocked off. All around there has been blocked off except for emergency personnel. And again, many of you wondering about the stand alerts. Some people saying, why haven't I gotten an alert from stand, which is the emergency system that's put into place to let you know of things like this. It has gone out. Those emergency alerts have gone out, but only for the folks in a half-mile area of the plant and a quarter-mile area southwest of 136. Those are the areas that had to be evacuated. Mandatory evacuation. And again, the entire city of Groves has been put under a shelter-in-place order, but has not had to be evacuated. So if you're wondering about that, that's what we can tell you this morning. And right now, our Rachel Keller is standing by with what she's seeing and hearing in the area.
Good morning, Vanessa and Tracy. We are right off of Merriman Street. This is right within the mandatory evacuation area. We're about a quarter of a mile away from where this fire is still burning. We're going on hour almost 5 now. This fire has been burning for over 4 hours. And what's unbelievable when you look at this fire is the smoke, just how much black fills the air and is heading to the west. That wind is blowing that to the west. Right to the left of me is the library. And these businesses have been noticing a lot of damage. And as that sun starts to come up, we're going to notice a lot of cracked windows, doors destroyed. I've seen in a gas station windows cracked. Of course, the market basket on Magnolia Avenue, the windows were cracked there as well. Businesses receiving damage, and you only can just wonder what's going on inside. Those first responders working hard to get these flames out. It's been hours of battling this fire, and Port Neches residents here, I think the main word to describe it is just terrifying. Residents have been evacuating to different locations past Knoll Street. They've been at the Market Basket. They've been at different gas stations. You know, one man told me that his home is on 11th Street and his windows were broken, doors blown out, and that is at least a mile out from where this fire is here, right off of Merriman Street. So you can only imagine the type of damage that we're going to start to see, and as those pictures start to flood in as the morning goes on, this is going to be an intense aftermath. I think the biggest thing that we're worried right now is the effect that this smoke inhalation is going to have on residents, and we're unsure of the air quality as of right now. I can tell you right now, as I stand out here, I'm not affected. I don't feel any differently right now, but of course that could change. That smoke is just really, really thick and massive. The plant workers that evacuated to that Market Basket on Magnolia Avenue had that smoke all over their face. And just seeing just how just terrified and shocked everyone is, it's an unbelievable scene here.
All right, Rachel, have you heard, I'm just getting word from some of the residents there that they still are continuing to hear more explosions. Have you heard any more out there? Are you smelling this gasoline smell yet?
I think I hear it more than I smell it, Tracy. I've heard at least 2 booms within the last 30 minutes, which is, to be quite honest, very scary standing here. And it's the same power, it's the same intensity, and it just kind of sounds like a little crackle. In terms of what I'm smelling, you do start to smell the smoke, you do start to smell the gasoline. This is about a quarter of a mile out from where this plant is located. As you head further out towards that Knoll Street, Magnolia area, you don't really smell much, but as you get closer, you start to smell a little bit of the smoke.
All right, thank you so much for that live report, Rachel. A lot of people are asking as well, what about the other plants? Are they closing down? Because, you know, of course, they're trying to get this under control so there's not subsequent explosions, blasts, or it doesn't become bigger than it already is. Anna is reporting that her husband works at Total, and they are working. He was able to get there, and that plant is working. And then Kimberly's saying her husband's at Phillips 66, 3 miles away on 366, and he is working as well. So it appears that the other plants are just running operations as normal, as well as Huntsman, which is right next to this facility, TPC. Huntsman right next to the facility, and Huntsman is actually assisting with putting out this fire, so they are helping right now as well. So no other plants seem to be affected by this, and we are going to continue our team coverage now. We have crews all over Port Neches Groves. They're on the ground monitoring conditions. We go to Kelsey Johnson now. Kelsey, what can you tell us?
Vanessa, I just spoke with Jefferson County Emergency Management Coordinator Mike White. He tells me that right now there's no updates that they can give, but he did tell me that they are finally able to put water on this fire. They've been having to fight it without water. He couldn't go into great detail right now again because he's meeting with several of the emergency officials as well as TPC plant officials as well. They're meeting, trying to get together, but they now finally are able to put water on this fire. As far as like air quality, TCEQ, he didn't have an update for me yet. He's hoping that they're going to be able to kind of give us some more information soon. Again, like y'all just mentioned, a lot of people have been hearing some booms. The last one that was reported was at 4:49. Since I've been out here, I've heard two. So they're hoping that that's going to die down now, that they're able to kind of get some water on this fire, and hopefully they'll be able to get it out as quickly as possible. Spokesperson for TPC Group, Sarah Cronin, tells me that all the employees have been evacuated from this facility. Y'all mentioned 3 people were hurt. From what I've been told anyway, that none of them suffered life-threatening injuries, which is good news. But again, they did get hurt in this explosion that happened here this morning. We're hoping to get some more information as they're meeting right now. As far as how many employees were here, I asked Sarah how many employees were at the facility at the time, and she didn't have a number for me, but she is working to get that. So again, we will have a number for you to know how many people were at this facility when this explosion happened. Again, not sure if y'all heard, if you haven't heard, that they have shut down the Sabine Neches waterway. The Coast Guard is here right now monitoring that water quality. So as far as how long it's going to be shut down, we don't have that information right now. Again, no really new updates that we can give right now until emergency officials kind of get a game plan and let us know. And they're hopefully going to be holding a press conference later today so we can get you that information as quickly as possible. For now, live in Beaumont, live in Port Neches, Kelsey Johnson, 12 News.
All right, thank you, Kelsey. And again, a lot of you viewers have been writing into us and letting us know. Ashley saying that she lives on East Cypress in Port Neches. This morning, again, this blast happened around 1 o'clock this morning. She said her house felt like a pressure cooker, and that the front door completely blew off. Her garage caved in. The lights fell in. Sheetrock cracked her ceiling. And she said her home was only 2 years old, so some significant damage, and right on the heels of Imelda. Right, all of these people trying to recover from that, and now significant damages to their homes. I've seen complete roofs that were caved in, and windows blown out, doors blown off the hinges. So we're still going to continue monitoring these conditions throughout the day for you as daylight breaks and we're able to maybe assess a little bit better.
Right, and we have been talking to residents there. They're writing into us, they're calling us, sending us videos, and we thank you for that. You can still send those into us and let us know what it looks like from your home. Let's talk to a few residents in Port Neches, see what they're saying this morning.
It was off and a big noise, and I looked up, all my doors had gotten blown up in my house, and had a dead on. So I walked outside, didn't see anything, looked over toward this area, and could see a big orange ball in the sky. So I was like, okay, something's going on. So we got the truck, came down here to the city here in Fort Neches, because good friends of mine own it and run it and do stuff like that. So make sure everything's okay. Saw some damage to the store, so I called her up, let her know. And just stay here till she can get here.
What was your initial thought after hearing that explosion, and kind of explain and describe what that sounded like?
Kind of flashback to Desert Storm. So we'll just leave that one there. Fire.
I appreciate all of your comments, all of your video that you're sending into us, your pictures, and that you are our eyes and ears around Southeast Texas right now. Jeff, of course, monitoring the weather conditions, which could be significant. I know that the Groves area got a good downpour early on, but that's since moved off.
Yeah, the cold front that was coming through overnight did bring them some rain. So after the explosion happened, we did get a good downpour there that helped out a little bit. But now all that rain is moving to the south, and it looks like a dry forecast for the rest of the day. We're really watching the winds because, well, all that smoke going up into the atmosphere, people want to know where that's going. And right now we're seeing a north wind anywhere between about 10 to 20 miles per hour. And so a north wind means that smoke's going to be going off towards the south. And we'll continue to watch that as we go through the day. Those winds are going to continue. So once again, with a north wind coming in right now, that means everything is going to be drifting off towards the south and kind of in that direction. So there is a shelter in place in the Groves area. Right now, some of that wind's kind of smoke kind of headed in that direction. So we'll continue to watch that. We'll see north winds right now in the orange area. Temperatures are dropping behind the front. We're in the 60s out there. As far as rain, not much going on except down towards the coast. Still have some rain towards the south end of Sabine Lake. That's pushing to the south and east, though. So not expecting any rain today. Matter of fact, here's a quick look at the forecast for today. And we'll see temperatures actually falling back into the 70s. And this is not an updated forecast. I grabbed the wrong one. Let me show you the updated forecast here for today. And this is what we're looking at through the rest of the day. Temperatures falling and holding into the 60s. We'll see north winds throughout the day, anywhere between about 5 and 15 miles per hour, and it will be dry throughout the afternoon. So we'll continue to see those north winds. That means all that smoke is going to be working its way to the south and southeast.
All right, but the good news is, even though the rain has moved out, Kelsey just reported that they're just now getting to this fire to put some water on it.
Right.
So maybe using some type of a retardant or something early on to put water on it. But Mike White with the Emergency Management Office, they're saying that they are able to get to it and put water on it, which hopefully will be able to diminish the flames even further. So it's looking significantly smaller than it was early on at 1 o'clock this morning. It's been burning since 1 o'clock when the explosion happened. There have been subsequent explosions, smaller ones, that have continued, and they're trying to contain it so it does not ignite again or doesn't cause another
If
explosion.
you're joining us at 6:44 in the morning, New York's Eastern Time, we are monitoring breaking news from Port Neches, Texas,
Okay, as we near the 5:55
that the refinery at
Wednesday morning, we want to go
uh,
now to Sarah Cronin, your
TPC
spokesperson for
has
TPC.
exploded
Sarah, thank you so much for calling in this morning. You're speaking with Vanessa Broussard and Tracy Manning.
around
Busy morning.
1 o'clock in the morning Central, 2 a.m. New York time. There's reports of 3 people injured, no fatalities. Shelter is in place, and uh, if you live a half a mile from the plant that is located at Texas Route 1366 and Spur 136, there's a half a mile radius. People are saying people are being evacuated. The weather was corroborative earlier this morning, but right now isn't. And firefighters are trying their best to control the fire as we see the sunset, the sunrise here at New York City, and it's 67 degrees in Port Neches, Texas, with an air quality index of 55. And we are using for this live stream local affiliate of ABC and ABC in Belmont, Texas. So let's continue our coverage.
To do our investigation on what caused it, but our immediate focus, of course, is the safety of those on site, which again, everyone was accounted for with 3 sustaining injuries that are being treated, and then now our focus is really on bringing it under control as quickly and safely as possible.
And can you explain to us what part of the plant this happened in?
My understanding is it's a south unit, one of our processing units that a processing unit in the south side of our facility.
Now, Sarah, there are a couple of different chemicals that you produce there. Is that correct? And is it the butadiene that you believe is the chemical that's burning?
It's possible that it is a mixture of butylenes and hydrocarbons, and really until we can get in and really understand what is happening, we are working on dispatching air monitoring and getting more information, but it's potentially a combination of mixed butylenes and hydrocarbons.
And can you tell us how many employees estimate on a number may have been in the south processing unit at the time of that blast?
I don't have that number. I'm sorry, but I don't have the number of employees that were on site at that time.
Okay, and Sarah, we do know, as you mentioned, that there were 3 injuries. How about the extent of those injuries? Can you tell us how they were injured or the severity of those injuries?
Right now, all I know is that they have been transported to local hospitals and they are being treated for those injuries.
Right, it appears, I mean, this is something that you never want to happen at your plant, but it appears that the protocols that were put into place were effective. There were no fatalities. You were able to evacuate the plant safely, and with only 3 injured, does that make you feel like the process went the way that it should go in a situation like this?
Well, certainly this isn't something we ever want to happen, and we operate so that our employees and the community remain safe at all times with very little impact to the environment. And we can only focus on making sure that we are planned and prepared and ready. And right now, we are working on making sure that those plans are brought in controlling and mitigating the situation as safely as possible.
Any idea how long the plant would be shut down?
No, we don't have any of that information right now.
All right, Sarah, is there anything else that you'd like to add? Anything that you would like to say to, the people in the surrounding areas, Port Neches and Groves at this hour?
Just nothing right now. Thank you for letting us come on and make sure that the community knew what was going on. So thank you.
We appreciate you joining us this morning with that information.
We're looking for the local emergency management coordinators for instructions.
Yes, absolutely. Sarah Cronin with the TPC group there in Port Neches. We appreciate you coming on again this morning with us and joining us.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you, Sarah. Now we go to Lauren Hensley with more on what this product is that we believe is burning at the plant. Lauren?
Yeah, as you guys just heard, they believe it is that butadiene that's burning, but I really want to get to a look at some of the damage in the area. Really an unsettling wake-up call for so many people, our 12 new staff included. So this is a home in Port Neches, about a quarter of a mile. Now, Ashley says our house felt like a pressure cooker. We live in a brick home, our front door blew in, and our garage caved in. Our lights, they fell, and as you can see, windows, doors just came tumbling down. So many people waking up to this very loud noise, a chaotic situation before learning the details of what had happened. Our very own 12 News sports anchor, Mike Canizales, living at home in the Port Neches area, he says he woke up with a newborn to these sounds. Also our producer, Kate, she woke up to the very unsettling sounds, the loud boom, the crashes, and as you can see in that video from the Port Neches area, just broken doors, a broken window. We even heard the library in the Port Neches area that it sustained some damage as well. Taking a look at that video again, the explosion is so powerful, bending the door frame, throwing the door off its hinges. So what an unsettling sound and noise to wake up to this morning. People startled by that explosion and those answers as to what happened slowly coming down this morning. 3 injured in that plant explosion, no fatalities, but wow, what a wake-up call. Tracy and Vanessa, people were reporting hearing that explosion as far away as Vinton, Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana. And this is a look at the high school. The high school did sustain some damage as well. Those students are on Thanksgiving break, so they did not have school today as scheduled for Thanksgiving break. So the school district is going to have to reevaluate the damage, take assessment of what was damaged. And guys, keep sending your viewer video in. We want to hear from you. How bad was your area damaged? Did you feel that explosion? Because some of these descriptions, just compelling to hear what you heard, what you saw. That was from a Rachel Keller. It looked like a business damage in the area. So a lot of folks in that half-mile radius and beyond truly feeling the impacts of that explosion this morning. So keep those photos coming into 12 News. Guys, we're going to be here for you all morning long to get you the information you need. Tracy, Vanessa, what's the latest?
We're just getting word, Lauren, thank you for your report. We're just getting word from the TCEQ that all air quality quality registering is coming back as normal. So that's very good news because so many people are worried about the air quality right now from this burn, but we're being told that all tests so far are coming back normal.
Yeah, and we did tell you earlier, butadiene, it is a dangerous chemical. It is used to make rubber products, and in high exposure levels, it can cause cancer. Immediately, they see if you breathe it in, it smells like gasoline. It can cause nausea, maybe a lightheadedness. You might feel a little sick, vertigo, those types of symptoms. If you're feeling that, you might be breathing too much of this in. They say stay in your home. Don't go outside, don't walk around, don't try to breathe it in. Shut your doors, keep your windows closed. If you can turn off your air conditioner, even maybe put something around the seal, the bottom of your door, whatever. And a lot of these doors are blown off, windows blown out. There are emergency shelters set up. There's one at the First Baptist Church in Nederland, where a lot of folks have been evacuated if you need to get to another area. Now, remember, the area around there has been evacuated a quarter or a half mile from the plant and a quarter mile southwest of 136. Again, these are the symptoms of high concentration exposure. The good news, again, the TCAQ has been monitoring the air quality. Right now, they say it's normal, so not a huge concern. They're hoping to get it under control, put out the fire as quickly as possible, contain the amount of chemical going into the air. But these, again, vertigo, drowsiness, decreased blood pressure, headache, nausea, these are some of the things that you may feel if you breathe in that chemical.
Right, and we just want to keep reminding you as you're waking up this morning, tuning in, checking your homes. The entire city of Groves is under a shelter in place due to the wind direction. Shelter in place, but again, more good news this morning that all air quality tests are registering as normal at this hour. They're testing the water. The Coast Guard is in the Sabine Neches waterway testing the water. The waterway has been shut down while they do this, so it's a really important task that they're taking on this morning. They are monitoring the water conditions. The air is being monitored. You're asked if you live anywhere in this area around this plant to go ahead and turn off your air conditioners. Close your windows, shut your doors. Don't go inside and outside your homes a lot just to see the flames maybe from your backyard or from your front yard, or stay in your homes and just turn off air if you can. We mentioned this earlier. The good news is we are in November, not in July in the heat of the summer, so it may be okay for you to turn off your air conditioners for a little while. We are about 5 minutes away from the 6 o'clock hour, and the Orange County Judge, John Gauthier, issued an alert until the 6 o'clock hour.
Right, and that was the shelter in place as well, south of I-10 in Orange. He said at least until 6. We have not been given an update, but again, that's because of the wind conditions, and the winds have picked up, and so they're just worried that these particulates in the air quality, that it can be spread to other areas. So just the big concern now, getting the fire under control so there's not a subsequent explosion, a bigger one, or another explosion that can cause more damage, and then monitoring the air quality. So just making sure that people, if you don't have to go out in that vicinity or anywhere, if you can stay inside today, maybe work on your Thanksgiving, whatever you're doing, that's the plan of action that they're hoping that you will take. We also have other reporters out in the area. Okay, yeah, we're being told this is live right now. We've been showing you video earlier. This is live at the scene right now.
And this
Of course, there was a massive fireball earlier. The fire seems like it's much smaller, but look at that smoke just billowing into the air, and that's the big concern.
Imagine if we had an explosion like that in New York State.
Facebook as messages come in, and families just posting to Facebook, my loved one's okay, and to know that the fear that these families faced for just a little while this morning as they got word that there was an explosion and maybe couldn't reach their loved ones, or calling each other trying to see if they've heard from their loved ones, or just hearing the word plant explosion. Just for us this morning, we were awakened by our producers to come in because of this, and we immediately felt
That was my first worry, that how many people were dead.
Yes, and so just looking at the intensity of this blast and and to know that 3 people are injured. We are just now getting word from Jeff Brennick. We've been reporting to you that we knew 2 of the injured were non-life threatening. The third is as well. We're just getting word that the third is as well. He's telling us now that there was a burn injury that required a worker to be taken to the hospital by medical helicopter.
Right. They had those helicopters set up at the Jack Brooks ready, not knowing how many employees would have to be life flighted out for emergency services, to be able to be taken to a hospital in a very immediate, quick manner because, it's a chemical, it's a fire. Very, very significant injuries could have been. But we're told one person suffered a broken arm, another person has already been released from the hospital. This was the one we were waiting on. So, again, confirming Jefferson County Judge Jeff Brennick confirming it was a burn injury. Not sure how severe, but had to be taken by helicopter to the hospital. So keep that employee in your prayers as well this morning. Again, if you're just waking up and saying, where is this? Because I've had a lot of you asking that, where is this plant? What does it produce? Again, this is the TPC Group plant in Port Neches. It's on 136. It's the former Huntsman West. It's next to Huntsman Chemical. It is not Huntsman, which initial reports were that it happened at Huntsman. It is at TPC. Happened just after 1 o'clock this morning. A huge explosion, and then multiple blasts after that. People reporting that they heard more than one blast, and that their doors were blown off the hinges, that their windows were blown out, their roofs caved in, their garages were collapsed. The great news is, as we just spoke with the folks over at TPC, they were able to evacuate the entire plant safely and to account for all personnel. So if you're saying, oh no, I have a loved one who works there, they have all been accounted for. We have not had any other problems with other plants surrounding that area. This has only been contained there at TPC. And again, all employees have been accounted for. There were 3 injuries, the most significant being burns.
Right. And as we near the 6 o'clock hour, we just want everyone to know, again, no fatalities here, and shelter in place has been issued for all of the city of Groves. If you live within a 1/2 mile radius of the plant, you are under a mandatory evacuation. So if you're in Groves, though, the entire city shelter in place, so do not leave your homes.
Yeah, it is significant how far away they heard this blast too. All the way into Louisiana. Daniel saying in Lumberton, he heard it this morning. So this was not a small explosion, and just a miracle, truly, that there are no fatalities to report this morning and no extreme injuries. So.
You're watching 12 News Daybreak on your Wednesday morning. We will have continuing team coverage coming up.
Thanks so much for waking up with us this morning, everybody. I'm Tracy Kennett.
And I'm Vanessa Broussard. We have an extended version of 12 News Daybreak this morning. We started early with you because at 1 o'clock this morning there was an explosion at a plant in Port Neches. The TPC Group plant in Port Neches caught fire. You're looking at that huge flame, those huge flames billowing into the air. The smoke could be seen for miles. Rumblings all over the area from Port Neches to Groves. We're hearing reports from Lumberton, even Louisiana. Residents there telling us they felt the rumblings. Here's what we know at this hour. No fatalities to report. That was the scare early on. When you look at these flames, you immediately thought we're going to have some issues here. No fatalities. Great news to report to you this morning. We can tell you 3 injured. 3 people injured. One of those injured had to be taken by medical helicopter to the hospital, but all injuries appear to be non-life threatening.
And Sarah Cronin, we spoke with her earlier this morning with TPC, and she's telling us it happened just after 1 o'clock at their processing unit. She said it was the south unit. She could not tell us exactly how many employees were there at the time, nor could she confirm what caused the blast. She said, right now we're just worried about getting it under control, monitoring the air quality, making sure everybody's safe, and then we'll go in and figure out what caused it. So at this point, we don't know what caused the blast. All we know is that it happened shortly after 1 o'clock. Now, they have a couple of different chemicals that they manufacture there, and she told us it could be a mixture of butylene and hydrocarbons. The Jefferson County Emergency Management Office telling us they're treating it as if the most significant one, which is butadiene, is the one that's burning. That's what's causing the shelter in place. That's what's causing the big concern about air quality. But again, as we mentioned moments ago, TCEQ has been monitoring it, and so far, at this hour, they're telling us that the air quality is normal. So that's good news. Again, it is an odor or a colorless gas, and can produce a mild gasoline odor.
Right, and also monitoring the conditions right now. A big factor here is the wind direction, and Jeff has been monitoring that all morning. Jeff, what can you tell us?
Right now, we're seeing a north wind thanks to a front that went through overnight. The front is all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico now, so the north winds are kicking in anywhere between 10 to 20 miles per hour. When the first explosion started, we actually had a little bit of a south wind, so they were concerned in portions of Orange County that some of the smoke could come up into southern parts of Orange County. Now the front has gone through. We're seeing the winds kicking out of the north at about 10 to 20 miles per hour, and we'll continue to see that through the morning. They'll come down a little bit this afternoon, but we are expecting a north wind through the day. So what does that mean? Well, that basically means that the smoke we have from the fire right now is going to be drifting off towards the south and southeast as we go through the morning into this afternoon. So that's why Groves is under a shelter in place right now. As far as how far the smoke travels before it dissipates, I'm not sure about that, but it is going to be moving to the south and southeast as we go through the morning and into this afternoon until we put the fire out. So that's the areas that are really under concern right now. Basically, that north, you can say northeastern corner there of Jefferson County as the smoke drifts across that for this morning. Take a look at radar. The front is out in the Gulf of Mexico. It continues to push into the Gulf of Mexico, so the rain is to our south and is moving off towards the south and east. No rain in the forecast for today, so that's not going to help our fire situation there. Here is today's forecast, and we're basically looking for temperatures into the 60s, north winds anywhere between 5 and 15, and it's going to be a dry afternoon. Next couple of days look dry, but yeah, just need to watch out areas south of the plant right now because those winds are blowing in from the north.
All right, thanks so much, Jeff. And of course, we have team coverage all across that area right now this morning, and we are going to check in with our Rachel Keller now.
Good morning, Tracy and Vanessa. We're here again on Merriman Street, just a little bit further down from Port Neches High School. And as we take a look at the scene, nothing has really changed. If anything, I'm seeing even more flames now as we head into the 6 o'clock hour. Take a look at what we're dealing with right now. Just flames burning at this TPC plant. And that smoke blowing towards the west. This wind is picking up a little bit here, blowing that wind into homes. Now, right now, I've spoke to many people in the area. Some have chosen to evacuate after that mandatory evacuation order, while many others are actually driving around just to see how just massive this fire is right now. They're parked in their trucks, in their cars, and they're recording videos and photos. Right across the street from where we are here on Merriman Street is an apartment complex. And when we talk about the damage that we're seeing this morning, I can see right across the street from this fire just a floor apartment building, and the back door is completely blown open, off the hinges, and we're seeing damage along Merriman Street here. Now, in terms of closings, here at Highway 366 in Merriman, that's closed on 366. But as we head down Merriman Street, we're seeing a lot of cars still driving on the road. So again, here, Merriman Street is open, but Highway 366 from Knoll Street to Highway 136 is still closed. So you cannot travel in this area. In this intersection here on Merriman Street, you're only going to see police activity. You're going to see a lot of authorities, first responders, fire trucks. And as you head out even closer to the plant, this whole area is completely blocked off now. We were talking about air quality a little bit earlier this morning. Now, with that wind picking up a little bit out here, the smoke, in terms of the smell, has died down a little bit. I know we heard good news that the air quality is not really a concern for residents this morning. I think the biggest concern is the damage to the homes right now. And many families are still sheltering in place. Again, we still have that in place for Groves and Port Neches residents, and we will make sure that we update you in terms of the aftermath of this fire as it continues to blaze here in Port Neches. Live in Port Neches, Rachel Keller, 12 News.
Thank you, Rachel, for that report. Again, we have crews at multiple areas around the plant. And we're going to go now to 12 News reporter Tyler Severman, who's in a different area. What are you seeing there, Tyler?
Yeah, obviously 5 hours since this initial explosion. You can see behind me the flames are still very much visible. Now, we have been told, again, that there weren't any fatalities. Now, we have been told by the Jefferson County Emergency Coordinator, Mike White, that just about 30 minutes ago they have started putting water on this fire. Obviously, you can imagine that this fire is not going to go out pretty much anytime soon. We're right now along Highway 136, which is south of the TPC plant here in Port Neches. We have got also have been told that Beaumont Police got 13 calls from the explosion of car alarms going off. Obviously, all along Magnolia Avenue, which is near Port Neches High School. I was there earlier this morning as well. Lots of windows shattered. The gas stations, the windows were completely gone. Even the Jack in the Box there, the glass was completely shattered. But here at the scene right now, again, this is along Highway 136. This is south of the TPC plant in Port Neches. You can see Port Arthur Police, multiple law enforcement have blocked off the roads. Also closer to the plant, if people are trying to go east along Highway 366, police have blocked that area. Everyone is safe.
It is not us. It's
We are having some audio issues there with Tyler as he continues to the conditions there.
Yeah, as we were talking with Rachel earlier, and she's talking about the shelter in place, and Mike White, who's with the Jefferson County Emergency Management Office, has issued a shelter in place for the entire city of Groves. We did have a viewer asking, what does that mean? Actually wanting to know, because we did mention that there's a shelter at First Baptist Church in Nederland. Okay, the shelter is for the folks that are under a mandatory evacuation. That's those who were impacted. If you got a phone call from STAN, the alert system, that's for those a half mile from the plant or a quarter mile southwest of 136. Again, this plant is located at 136 Spur and 2102 Texas Highway 120 or 2102 in Port Neches, right next to Port Neches High School. So those are the folks that are in the half mile radius. Those are the people who are evacuated. Those are the folks who are at the Nederland First Baptist Church as an evacuation. Now, for the rest of the folks in the city of Groves and for the surrounding areas, the shelter in place means you simply stay home. You don't open your doors, you don't open your windows, and you just stay put, trying to keep the air from coming into your home. Because at this point, they're treating it as a toxic gas that's in the air. We do believe that it's either a mixture of butylene and hydrocarbons or butadiene, which is a chemical that's used to make rubber products, and it can be dangerous. It can, in high doses, even cause cancer. So that's our big concern. So shelter in place simply means just stay put. Stay inside your home. Don't go driving around. As Rachel was telling you, she's seen people driving around trying to check it out themselves. Look at our video. We have live coverage for you here. Stay inside your homes and just stay safe. And there have been subsequent explosions. They don't, they've blocked off the roads all around there. They don't want people driving around that area. You're only allowed to go in if you're emergency personnel. So that's the news this morning that we're reporting. Also want to mention Abigail wrote on our page saying that her son was working in the guard shack there. He said that it blew out all the windows, and he did have a few minor cuts, but otherwise he's okay. And so, we mentioned that there were 3 employees injured, significant injuries. We had one reported with a broken arm, and another that was treated at the hospital and released, and then a third that Jefferson County Judge Jeff Brown did confirm had burns and had to be taken by helicopter for treatment. We have not heard the extent of those burns. Praying for that employee. Other than that, though, maybe some minor injuries. I know a lot of people, a lot of residents reporting that their windows were shattered, blown out, so there could be some other minor injuries. But the great takeaway, the big news is the fatality. So absolutely wonderful news, miracle, if you want to call it that. It's just been so relieving to report to you this morning that we can tell you no fatalities here, because when you first see the video and you first hear a plant explosion, that's your first thought that comes to mind. And so to see that big fireball as you're looking at right now, and to know that we had 3 injuries, 3 people walk away with this with non-life-threatening injuries is just a blessing in and itself. We've been talking about a lot about the houses that have received damage, but the police departments are receiving a lot of calls that car alarms started going off. In Beaumont, which is miles away from Port Neches, Beaumont alone got 13 reports on their call log, 13 calls to them today about car alarms going off. So it rattled even the vehicles in Beaumont. Yeah, just incredible. Do we have Kelsey Johnson available for us? We haven't checked in with Kelsey for a little bit, and we'll try to get her in a moment. Also wanted to let you know the Neches Federal Credit Union, we saw some significant damage there on Magnolia, as well as Port Neches High School, the Market Basket, several other businesses, a lot of their homes. The doors just ripped off the hinges, the windows completely shattered and blown out. And people are reporting that all the way in Louisiana, they felt this morning. Again, it happened just after 1 o'clock. If you're just waking up with us at the TPC plant in Port Neches, the former Huntsman West plant. And we're still not sure exactly what caused it. We talked with Sarah Cohen from TPC. She's spokesperson for those folks over there, saying she can confirm it's a processing unit that was in the south side of the plant, and that's basically all they know at this point. At this time, they're just trying to get it under control.
So for those joining in at 7:40 in the morning, we have been following breaking news from Port Neches, Texas, that the TPC plant had an explosion.
This fire. As we near 6:15, we want to tell you about what we know so far this morning. There
and
has been
and up to now we have three people injured,
fire started around 1
no
o'clock this morning.
fatalities. Uh,
TPC Group Coordinations
there's a
operates
mandatory
roughly
evacuation in
136,
place for those who
and
live
that processing
half a
unit,
mile
the TPC
away
Group
from the
activated
plant.
its emergency response plan and requested assistance
We
following
have
Neches
that the
fire to
weather
Huntsman, which is
was
right nearby.
cooperative
This
uh,
event is ongoing.
early this morning,
The crew
but
there
it's
says the
not
fault is under control
right
as quickly and
now.
safely as possible. Personnel
Emergency
on site
personnel
were
are
evacuated,
trying
and they
to
have
get the
all been
fire
accounted for.
under
No
control.
fatalities
And the
reported,
plant is
no
located on
injuries, and no
Texas
lives threatened.
366
What we also
and
know right
Spur
now is that
136.
the air quality is a big concern.
And
Just
right
after
now
this
it's
moment, all
66
parts of the building
degrees
that
with
crush off
air quality index of
metal. In the
59.
meantime, the winds have shifted this morning, so the
And
entire
right now
CF
all of
workforce has
our
been sheltered in
136
place. And also Magnolia Avenue to
from Route
136 completely closed.
366
That area
up
blocked
north to
off just
Risby
a
Avenue and
terrible area. We're
East
going to check in again
Port
with Jeff
Neches Avenue,
Brown for more on
though that area is closed.
Yeah, and with the front going through overnight, were seeing a little bit of a slight
So
south wind, and the front was
basically,
moving through the area, and that was right about the time of the explosion. Now the front has moved out into the Gulf of Mexico. Winds are kicking in out of the north behind that front, and with that, we're seeing gusts anywhere between 15 to 20 miles an hour, generally a wind between about 5 and 10. And we'll continue to see those winds blow from the north throughout the day, and that means whatever smoke that develops and whatever's going up into the atmosphere is going to be
that's
working its
Port
way
Neches.
off towards the
And
south
look at the
and
wind.
maybe even a little bit off towards the south and east. We're looking at Groves right now under a shelter in place. because maybe some of that smoke heading in that direction. So that's the area of concern. It's really that northeastern quadrant there of Jefferson County where the smoke is kind of drifting down off towards the south and off towards the south and east. Quickly look at radar. You can see the rain is gone. We don't expect any more rain today. The rain is over parts of Cameron Parish. We'll continue to move to the south and east. And a quick forecast for today calling for temperatures into the lower 60s this morning, and then we'll hold into the 60s throughout the day. A dry day, and those winds will continue from the north throughout the day, anywhere between about 5 and 15 miles per hour.
All right, thank you so much, Jeff. Again, what's burning? We're not quite sure, but what they're worried about, the most significant of the chemicals that are produced there at TPC is butadiene, and that is a colorless, almost odorless gas. They say it can produce kind of a gasoline type smell, but it can be dangerous. It can, in large quantities, produce cancer or cause cancer. Immediate symptoms can include blurred vision, vertigo, a general tiredness, headache. You may feel nauseous, have a decreased pulse rate, and even fainting. So that's why they've issued the shelter in place. That's why they're asking you to just stay indoors. Don't go out if you don't have to. Just stay put. The entire city of Grove's under that shelter in place, as well as Judge John Gauthier issuing a shelter in place for the city of Orange. That was supposed to expire at 6 o'clock this morning. We have not received further information on that. What we have been getting, though, is a lot of your viewer-generated photos and videos of what you saw early this morning.
Right, and we thank you for those. Keep sending those in. You can send them to us with the hashtag 12 News Now. You can also message those to us on Facebook, talking more about what could possibly be in the air. What is this product that is burning? We're going to turn it over now to Lauren Hensley, who has been looking into this. Lauren.
Yeah, guys, we do believe that the most serious chemical,
And
butadiene, is
while we
what could
monitor
possibly
this
be
breaking
burning.
news
But right now, we did
from
get some
Southeast
news over video
Texas,
of some damage.
we're
And
gonna
let's go ahead
do
and check these images
a
out. It really just goes to show
meeting
how
transit
concerning
report
this
for those
explosion was
here
for
in
folks
New
that
York
got to
City.
this morning. Doors all
We
out,
have
broken hinges,
reports
glass
of
debris
delays
everywhere. So this
on
is
the
images from a home in
L
Neches.
train due
We
to a
have been
train
surveilling
with
the
mechanical
damages,
problems
and
at
local
Atlantic
businesses,
Avenue.
even the high school sustained some damage. And as folks woke up to this chaotic scene, many of you were turning to 12 News to ask what is going on. And of course, we are working to get those answers for you regarding the explosion.
And
So guys,
also we
stay with
have
us.
delays on
We'll
the
monitor
Falcon Avenue
everything, keep
shuttle
sending those
after
damage
a
pictures
train
in.
experienced
I'm going to send it back to
mechanical
Tracy and
problems
Hannah.
at
All
Botanic
right, thank you so much.
Garden.
And right now we have our Kelsey Johnson. She is continuing some of our
And
TV
also we
coverage
have
next to the plant there in
Metro
Newport Neches,
North.
monitoring what's
The
happening, what
549
she's seeing, what
eastbound
she's
train
smelling, and
departed
what she's
Grand
being told
Central
by
is
those in
approaching
operation. Good
Westport
morning, Kelsey.
and operating 10 to 15 minutes late.
Tracy, the sun is actually coming up now a little bit, so we're actually getting a chance to see there is a thick black cloud just
And we
covering
have
the sky.
northbound A
Clouds
train
coming north right
resumed
now, just
stopping at
surfacing
Howard
in the
Beach
distance. You can
JFK
still see the
Airport
flames, but
after
we are getting a chance to
NYPD
speak with
concluded an investigation
Jefferson County
at
Emergency
that
Management
station.
Coordinator Mike White. He's
As
telling
you
me that
know,
firefighters
today's
were just
Gridlock
now able
Alert Day
to
here
get
in New York
alarm on this
City.
fire. They've been having to kind of take a defensive stance with this and
If you need
let
to
it go down just a
travel
little bit because of how
to
big
any
these
of
flames
the
were. The last time
area
I heard, even
airports,
heard some kind
please
of like
use
boom
mass
explosion,
transit.
was around
And
4:50
if you're
this morning.
traveling
Since I've been out here, I've
out
heard
of
two of
LaGuardia
them.
Airport,
So
the
nothing
Q70 Select
at
bus service
all
is
compared to what they had saw
free
or
from
experienced this morning
Woodside
when it
61st
was
Street
maybe about
and
three
Jackson
hours
Heights
late
Roosevelt
today.
Avenue.
As soon as they
But
put
if
that
you need
cloud
to
out and
take
get
the
some more information
M60, the
and kind of really let
Q72,
us
the
know what
Q48,
happened. Right
or the
now, the main
Q47,
concern
you
with
have
what we're
to
seeing
pay
is
the full
the first
fare.
responders and getting
So
those out there
let's
to make sure that
return
this
at
fire can be contained.
7:21
So as
to
soon as
our
that,
breaking news
as soon as we
from
wrap this up,
Southeast
we're going to be
Texas.
going into the plant, assessing, see what's going on, what happened. Again, as y'all had mentioned earlier, 3 people were injured. Now, Judge Jeff Braining has confirmed that one person was taken by medical helicopter. They did suffer some burns. We don't know the extent of those burns, but we are working to kind of gather more information and just making sure that these people are okay. Now, as far as the number of employees that were at this plant, we don't have that number just yet. Again, this happened at 1 o'clock this morning. It has been burning for over 5 hours now. A lot of people are experiencing shattering. I know when I was at home at around 1 this morning, it felt like a large gust of wind, and I didn't know what was going on. I looked in Facebook, and then I had several people commenting, and I live about 40 minutes away, so you can imagine just how far people felt that boom noise or that any type of like wind gust or heard something. I mean, that's a good distance for this. And again, as soon as we get some more information, we are going to be letting you know. Again, they do have the Sabine Neches waterway closed because they are working on checking the water quality there. And Judge Jeff Brayton confirmed that earlier today. They have the Coast Guard out there monitoring that. So as soon as we get some more information on that, potentially when it's going to open up, we will let you know. For now, I'm live in Port Neches. Kelsey Johnson, 12 News.
Thank you, Kelsey, for that report. And she's talking about the water quality that they're monitoring right now. Again, they're still monitoring the air quality, and we just want to keep reminding you that all air quality tests so far have come back normal.
Again, this has been burning since 1 o'clock this morning, so we're going on 4.5 hours, close to 4.5 hours, or 5.5 hours, I guess now, that this has been burning. So what we're seeing now is that huge black cloud that she was showing us, which hopefully, I mean, you see the flames are so much smaller this morning. If you saw our video from earlier, it was gigantic ball of flames there. It's still burning, it's still significant, but as Mike White told us from the Office of Emergency Management Office, that they have been able to get water to it now, and they're hoping that that will help to extinguish it more quickly than they were able to early on. So.
And let's go to Jeff now. Jeff Gerber monitoring the conditions. You can pick up that plume of smoke in Port Arthur.
Yeah, our sky cam down in Port Arthur, I kind of pointed over in that direction, and we are seeing the smoke come off the fire and kind of drifting off towards the south now. Temperatures are falling, and you can see that wind direction out of the north, and that's pushing that plume of smoke off towards the south, and will continue to do that throughout the day. We're expecting north winds all day long, so everything kind of south of that plant, you might see that smoke kind of heading over your direction or overhead for this morning into this afternoon until they get the fire out.
Right, and that's a great reminder there, you know, for folks that may be thinking, oh, I live in Port Arthur, I'm not super close to the plant, I'm fine. You see that black smoke over you, you don't want to breathe that in, you know, just, and as we were mentioning, Orange County as well, with that shelter-in-place order earlier this morning. So that's what's going into the air this morning, and we're hoping that those air quality reports will continue to be normal. But as more smoke and more chemicals are going into the air, that could change at any moment. So we are monitoring that for you as well.
And if you are just waking up with us this morning and you live in this area, 1/2 mile radius of this TPC plant, there has been a shelter set up at First Baptist Church in Nederland. First Baptist Church in Nederland. The Red Cross is there assisting families, so if you're looking for a place to go, you can go to the First Baptist Church in Nederland, and thank you to the church for opening your doors this morning for all of the residents that are in need. And you're looking at live pictures right now. We're seeing a lot more smoke as the sun starts to rise over Port Neches this morning.
Yeah, it was maybe a more difficult to see in the dark of the night, but maybe this means that, you know, a lot of times when you're extinguishing a fire, the smoke comes up as the fire is going out. The fireball is significantly smaller than what we saw early on this morning, at 1 o'clock this morning when this happened. Again, it's the TPC plant in Port Neches that's right near the high school, which had damage to it. A lot of the area businesses, the Market Basket, which is very nearby there as well. If you're familiar with that area, it had significant damage. Neches Federal Credit Union on Magnolia Avenue had significant damage. Many of the homes there, as people were waking up wondering what that huge explosion was that they heard, went to their doors and had the doors ripped right out of their hands, had their windows smashed, and their homes shaken. Many of you telling us all the way to Louisiana you felt this. So we are looking at live pictures of it right now as we showed you the huge fireball early on that looks significantly smaller to me.
Yes, and you know, we have been mentioning this before. We have seen this with our reporters out in the field. A lot of people driving by. You just saw cars driving by right now. They're not telling you not to, but they are telling you in the city of Groves to shelter in place Port Neches, if you live in a half-mile radius, you're under a mandatory evacuation. So there's really no need, I wouldn't see, for anybody to be driving by right now, because there are other roads to get to your destination, because that area right there is under a mandatory evacuation. And you have to understand, we have crews from multiple agencies. We have crews inside the plant that work at the plant, and Huntsman's also helping out, nearby Huntsman. These crews are trying to get a handle on this fire and are, coordinating with each other inside and outside of the gates there. And so we just don't want to hamper their efforts by driving by, parking along the streets, videoing, just we can't emphasize that enough, that safety is the most important thing right now. We don't want this fire to spread. We obviously don't want another explosion. We've heard multiple explosions throughout the morning from our viewers. And so if you can, please stay home, please avoid the area. We understand that Snapchat and Facebook, all of that is the thing to do now. But in this case, it's not. Safety is important, and we just want to make sure that our residents stay clear of that area.
And we are trying to be your eyes and ears around that area. We have our Tyler Sutterman very nearby, about a quarter of a mile from the plant this morning. Tyler, what are you learning this morning as we speak?
Yeah, so obviously the latest that we've been told, our Jefferson County Coordinator Mike White told us that about 45 minutes ago they just started putting water on this fire. I'm going to step out on the screen real quick so you guys can take a look at the scene right now. This is south of the TPC group plant in Port Neches along Highway 136. You can see the black smoke continuing to rise and come over toward this way. The wind is blowing towards me, and you can just see how high this smoke and how much fuel, how much fire has burned throughout the night. Again, we're going on 5 hours now, more than 5 hours since this plant first exploded. And again, from what we're being told is, like I said before, they just started putting water on the fire about 30 to 45 minutes ago. We still don't really know exactly what's burning, but obviously a lot of emergency personnel are here on the scene, whether they're blocking roadways or heading into them. We've seen a lot of emergency personnel go through this intersection to get towards and closer to the plant so they can begin to put this fire out and maintain control of it. Now, this explosion isn't just affecting the Port Neches community. We've also seen Orange County, their judge, offer a shelter in place. That was in effect this morning as well. Just as a precaution, we also know that the Sabine Neches waterway has also been shut down to make sure people aren't going in and out, getting close to this plant. And then for people, obviously, here in Port Neches, obviously the concern that you guys have touched on numerous times this morning is the air quality. From what we've been told by the TCEQ, the air quality is normal. I was near the plant pretty much all morning. I didn't really smell any chemicals or any gasoline, so obviously that's a good sign. Obviously that's a concern when a plant or something like this at a plant occurs. Now, mandatory evacuation is still in effect for people here in Port Neches within a half-mile of the TPC group plant. And if people are looking for a shelter, or not a shelter in place, but looking for somewhere to go, I believe First Baptist in Nederland is housing people, or is taking people in while this scene kind of continues to get under control and continues to unfold. But again, you guys reported before, we do know that everyone was accounted for that was working at the plant early this morning. We do know that 3 people were injured. 1 person had to be airlifted to Houston by medical helicopter. We do not know the extent of that person's injuries, but the other 2 people, from what I'm being told, are going to be okay, which is obviously a good sign considering, like I said, I mean, just look at the scene behind me. You can see the smoke continuing to rise. As the daylight, as the sun continues to rise, you're going to see kind of a clearer picture of the devastation, obviously, of this explosion. But this has been going on, like I said, for about 5 hours now. And again, this is along Highway 136, just south of the TPC group plant here. So that's the latest I got right now. Of course, we'll keep you guys informed as we learn more. So back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Tyler. And a lot of you with questions, a lot of questions coming into Channel 12 this morning. We have our Jordan Williams in studio now. He's been working to answer some of your questions this morning.
Hey guys, good morning. As you wake up with us, folks, we know that you have a lot of concerns. We have been on the air now continuously since about 2:45 this morning, keeping you informed. So what are some of the top questions that we're getting right now? What about the injuries? What about the air quality? We also want to talk about the chemicals that may be burning right now at that facility there in Port Neches, and also whether or not the plant is secure. So what we can verify at this point, at least 3 injuries. You heard about the one burn victim that had to be flown to Houston, so we're going to keep you updated as we get more information about that. Also tracking at this point the air quality, and this is not verified. We heard some early reports here from some of the readings from the Port Arthur firefighters who are actually helping with the air monitoring. They were at the corner there of Twin City and Spur 136, and at this point, the initial readings from that location are positive. Positive in the sense that this is good. They're relatively normal, but we are not ready by any means to say that the air quality is completely good across all the Port Neches and Groves areas. So that is why the shelter in place continues right now. So we'll keep an eye on that. We can verify based on the folks from TCP that it is butadiene that is likely burning. That is the scenario that they're working with. A lot of chemicals housed at that facility where they make the synthetic rubber, but again, at this point, butadiene appears to be what is burning. So we'll continue to find out more about that throughout the day. Last, is the plant secure? Well, we would tell you at this point, we've heard small explosions. Our crews out there, my folks who are in the area, my dad's been reporting some small explosions throughout the morning. And this all happened before 1 a.m. And as firefighters are trying to get under control and crews monitor what's going on at the plant, we've heard small explosions recently in the past hour. So we would say at this point, not secure. Obviously, the fire is still burning. There's watching radio colors, live pictures from just across Maryland, less than a quarter mile from where this is burning. So at this point, guys, we're going to keep monitoring this. We would say very much the shelter in place is warranted for Port Neches and Groves. Of course, we'll update you as we get more information that we can verify about this plant explosion overnight.
Jordan, you were telling us that you actually were woken up by your parents. They live very close to this area, right?
Yeah, and they wanted to make sure that I was up and could get to the TV station early this morning. I just gone to bed from finishing the 10 o'clock news last night, was pretty out. But yeah, it's we're seeing all of these images. My parents live about a mile down Maryland from where the plant happened. You know, and growing up in the county, I mean, we all knew this. At least when I was young, as the old age was using. There's my high school, KC High School this morning. You see the front of the high school being damaged worse. We were watching these images at the local library just up the street here on Maryland. A lot of windows blown out. I was just in the newsroom. We were hearing that Lucas Avenue Food Coffee Shop, the new one there in downtown Port Neches has significant damage. This is Market Basket, just right up the road from the plant. So significant damage all around Port Neches. And we're going to continue to see images throughout the morning just like this. We have our crews standing out across Port Neches right now to visit with us and visit with some of the people who are dealing with this. Newport Woods, right there off Maryland. We've seen a lot of damage and heard about problems there. This is video from earlier. This fire has raged now, as we've been telling you, since 1 a.m., since the initial blast. We're going to continue to track this. If you have, you're just waking up, you're getting, a sense of what's happening this morning. There's the latest on your screen. 3 injured, no fatalities, and we all give great thanks for that. The shelter in place continues within a half-mile radius of the facility. Shelter in place also in the city of Groves at this point. And Tracy and Vanessa, I know you're getting more information as we speak. We've been monitoring the air quality. I want to send it back to you guys as we get more information.
In fact, Jordan, we just got this into us that the Groves Fire Department has now lifted that shelter in place. Of course, they had shelter in place for the entire city of Groves. So as you mentioned, the TCEQ has, up until this point, said that the air quality is good and it's normal. So now at this point, they're saying that they are lifting the shelter in place, which means, for people that are asking, because we did have some viewers saying, we don't know what that means. What's the shelter in place? Basically, it meant don't go outside.
Right.
Stay inside until that was lifted. So again, don't try to drive around the plant. Most of those roads are shut down. You probably can see it from much farther away, and if you want to walk outside and breathe in that lovely air. I don't know why you would want to. If you can stay inside, just stay inside. If you don't need to go anywhere. But definitely don't try to get in the mix there and drive around the plant because that is shut down. Emergency personnel only at this point as they are continuing to try to contain it, keep it from exploding again further, and to put out the flames completely and continue monitoring that air quality.
All right, and yes, and also monitoring the air quality comes with the wind direction as well. Jeff has been monitoring that all morning. Jeff, what's the latest?
We continue to see a north wind out there thanks to a cold front that went through overnight. It also did help out a little bit. Actually, the front did bring some rain in towards the plant over there after the explosion, so that helped a little bit as far as the fire is concerned. Here's the latest wind directions, and straight out of the north, anywhere between about 10 to 15 miles per hour. We've been seeing some gusts over about 20 miles per
Is
hour.
here
So if we have a north
in
wind,
the
that is going to
area
send the plume of
is
smoke
for
off
Neches.
towards the
We're
south.
talking about
So we're seeing
95
that plume
miles
kind of working its way southward
of
now.
Houston.
Groves is over here, so the plume is actually going a little bit farther off towards the west of Grove than it was when we first had a northwesterly wind. And we can actually show you that plume of smoke from our Port Arthur's SkyCam live network here, and you can see that plume just to the west of Port Arthur now, and it continues to be pretty thick out there as it works off towards the south. The rain is gone. It continues to work to the east along with that cold front. And here's a quick look at your forecast for today. We'll see those north winds throughout the day, anywhere from about 5 to 15 miles per hour. We'll hold in the 60s all day long, and we'll have a dry forecast for today. So that plume is pretty much going to continue in the direction it's going, looks like, throughout the day, with those north winds being steady between 5 and 15.
All right, tell you what, I don't like to see all that plume of smoke, but I like to see it better than that massive fireball that we saw for hours on end since 1 o'clock this morning. Yeah, you wake up, it looks like the sky is on fire. It was huge.
This is, you saw a picture from a Twitter viewer sending that in to us. These are pictures from earlier in the morning as that fire burned at the TPC Group facility in Port Neches. We have crews there on the scene. Right now, we're going to continue our team coverage, sending it out to Rachel Keller. Rachel, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Vanessa, Tracy, luckily you're right. The flames have gone down. We've been out here for a few hours now. And I guess as the sun starts to peek through, you can start to notice exactly what I'm talking about when I say the sky is filled with black. You can see the smoke and just how dark that is just escalating across. And luckily, as Jeff said, that wind is picking up here. So it's blowing that smoke out of the area. In this particular area, again, that shelter in place has been lifted in Groves. Folks here are just assessing the damage, kind of just watching this all take part. And I talked to a lot of people here on Merriman Street, and this is just so close to Thanksgiving, and some folks are having to deal with their homes being damaged. But you know what they said? They said they're just thankful that no one was killed, no one lost their life, because this is a serious matter, and they're just happy that so far, as of now, everyone is safe. And as we take a look at Merriman Street, along this road you have PNG High School, you have apartment complexes, and right here, we walked into this home, and I don't know if you heard that, everyone at home. That was just another loud boom. I've heard about 3 within the last 3 hours. But we walked into this home. This is a rental property here on Merriman Street. And inside this home, hinges broken as well as glass lining the front foyer of this home from that explosion this morning. Picture frames fell off the side of the front door, and glass is scattered everywhere, even in the kitchen. And a lot of folks waking up here in Port Neches are having to deal with damage like this. Doors off the hinges, and just their belongings ruined. So right now, Merriman Street is open. Here at this intersection at Highway 366 in Merriman, that is still closed as firefighters and first responders continue to battle this fire. And it's been going for a few hours now. And as of right now, we don't know if these first responders have this fire completely under control, guys. For now, live in Port Neches, Rachel Keller, 12 News.
All right, thank you so much, Rachel. And, you know, earlier we talked about some of the symptoms of butadiene, which they believe is burning. We are getting some reports. Rachel Marshall says she's in Groves, in the Groves area, and she has a horrible headache, and so does her neighbor. That is one of the symptoms of breathing this in, and that's their big concern right now. Again, the TCEQ so far is saying that the air quality is normal, but I mean, if you breathe in any gas, you're typically going to get a headache. And so, so butadiene is used to make rubber products, and in high concentrations, it can cause nausea, dizziness, vertigo, those types of symptoms. And so a lot of people may start to feel some of this. It does smell like gasoline. If you breathe in gasoline, you're going to get a headache. So that is what's burning this morning. Again, the shelter in place, though, for the city of Groves and for the surrounding areas has now been lifted, which means you can leave your home if you choose. If you don't have to, I would recommend staying home. But you can get out and about this morning if you need to go somewhere. Again, those areas, those roads that were around the plant are shut down.
Yes, and also the 1/2 mile radius around the plant is still under a mandatory evacuation. So now that the city of Groves has lifted its shelter in place, and Orange County has lifted its shelter in place near Interstate 10, all shelter in places have been lifted. However, the mandatory evacuation still remains in place for the 1/2 mile radius around this plant.
You see the big significant difference there as we just showed the video of that fireball, that massive fireball that broke out close to 6 hours ago at 5 or 1 o'clock this morning. And now just a huge plume of black smoke. You still see the fire there, though, and of course it is not secured. It is not completely extinguished. As Rachel Keller just reported for us, she's still hearing booms and a blast coming from the plant, much smaller. The original blast, people felt their homes shaking all the way to Louisiana and many different areas in Lumberton. Again, this is in Port Neches, next to Port Neches High School. So it was felt all across Southeast Texas really this morning.
And then we're hearing even from Louisiana, people feeling the rumblings there. So just a powerful, powerful explosion this morning around 1 o'clock, waking up people, people thinking they're hearing gunshots. I mean, just a nervous morning for so many people. But the good news is, again, no fatalities to report, 3 injuries that appear to be non-life-threatening.
Yeah, we did talk with Sarah Cornyn from TPC earlier this morning. She did confirm to us that it happened just after 1 o'clock. What she doesn't know, or what they don't know yet, or emergency personnel has not confirmed, is how it started, why it started, what caused the blast. They will get to that after they deal with the immediate concern, which is putting out the fire, preventing further explosions, and then checking the air quality and monitoring that throughout the morning. Again, it happened just after 1 o'clock, and it was the south unit there at TPC that's located at 136 and 366 there in Port Neches. This is the former Huntsman West plant. This is video from earlier now. This is not live pictures, if you're wondering. So the good news is, as she mentioned, they activated their emergency response plan. They requested assistance from Port Neches Fire Department and from Huntsman. They were able to bring it under control as quickly and safely as possible. They were able to account for everyone on site. They evacuated the premises, got all of their employees to safety, and accounted for everyone that was there at the plant. What we do know about injuries: there were 3 injuries, no fatalities. The most significant of those injuries is a burn victim, which was flown out of the plant. We're not sure on the significance or the severity of those burns. The other 2 injuries were minor. One broken arm, we were told. The other one was released from the hospital. Great news there. It could have been so much worse. Look at these pictures sent in from some of our viewers. Amanda sending this in. The whole night sky just lit up in flames. Again, just after 1 o'clock, people waking up thinking somebody was shooting up their home, or that a transformer had blown something, and they went to their doors to have them blown off the hinges as they were looking outside to see what was happening.
Right, and it's just a scare. We live in this area, being born and raised here, you hear about this, the possibility of this happening, but I don't know if you're really ever prepared, to wake up in the morning to something like this. Who was prepared? Our first responders.
Yes,
The
that's
team at TPC, they were on it immediately. They activated their emergency plans, and it worked, in their words, very well. And we can't agree more. So far, just to report to you this morning, no fatalities. Look at that ball of fire. No fatalities, 3 injuries that are non-life threatening. The air quality so far has come back normal. It's hard to believe that we can even say that to you this morning.
Right, and then the first responders, as you mentioned, rushing to that scene, knowing that there could be a subsequent explosion, and they're in the line of fire and trying to put it out, and for the safety of all of us, but you gotta worry for those folks as well.
Yes, and they train for this all year, and we thank them too for their efforts this morning. They've been working hard since 1 o'clock on the ground, just making sure Port Neches and the surrounding cities are all protected. So a big tip of the hat off to all of the first responders out there.
Absolutely, and of course we have been monitoring it the best we can for you to be your eyes and ears so that you can stay put inside your homes. We have team coverage all around the area. Our Tyler Sugarman is among them. Let's go live to him right now.
Yeah, guys, I'm about 2 miles south of the TCP group plant, and as you guys can see behind me, the black smoke continues to rise as the sun comes up. We're getting a clear glimpse of how massive this fire is here at the TCP group plant in Port Neches. Now, we've just been told a few moments ago that the city of Groves, which is just to our east, has been cleared of its shelter in place. However, the city of Port Neches, from what we've heard, is still under mandatory evacuation for residents within a half-mile radius of the plant. Again, from what we've been told, 3 people have been injured. 1 person has been taken to the hospital in Houston via medical helicopter. Another 2 people were injured but appear to be okay, non-life-threatening injuries. Again, this is the wind continues to blow south, and you can see the smoke continuing to come closer and closer to us. In terms of the effects elsewhere, we know that Orange County did put a shelter in place as well as a precaution. I believe that has been lifted now. Also, this Neches waterway has been closed as a precaution as well to not allow cargo ships and other personnel to get anywhere close to this plant. You can see more and more people are continuing to go to from this intersection here. Again, this is on Highway 36, 136 rather, about 2 miles south of the plant. We continue to see a lot of different emergency personnel go in and out of this intersection, looking to obviously maintain this fire as well as make sure people don't get closer and stay at a safe distance. But it's just obviously remarkable to see the amount of smoke that continues to come from the plant. Again, this is more than 5 hours since it originally exploded. Seeing this amount of smoke just kind of gives you a glimpse and a clear picture of just how big this explosion was. And I was over on the other side of the plant earlier this morning, around 2 or 3 o'clock, and the flames were just massive and as clear as day. And when I was looking at the businesses and the gas stations nearby, almost every window was shattered. I saw 1 car that was shattered, and I know that we've reported on the activity log in Beaumont that even car alarms were going off. And I've even been told by people that I know over in Orangefield and even Louisiana that they heard the boom as well. So just obviously a rough morning for a lot of people, I'm sure, that are wide awake now if they haven't been already. But obviously, it's glad to know that no one has died, or there's been no confirmed fatalities from what we've been told, which is obviously a good thing. Obviously, that's a very big concern, given the amount of fire and the amount of smoke and the big explosion that obviously took place here. But again, obviously, the last thing I want to mention is obviously the TCEQ says that the air quality around this area is normal, which is obviously a good sign. Again, I was over closer to the plant earlier this morning. I did not smell any gasoline. I did not smell any chemicals. So there's no, side effects that people might have experienced, at least where I was sitting, that could have been any dangerous or could have been a danger to anyone. So again, this is a live look at the TCP plant in Port Neches. Again, we're about 2 miles south of the plant along Highway 136. Again, just to the east of us, the city of Groves just cleared and shelter in place is obviously a good sign. In terms of the people in Port Neches, I believe that they are still under mandatory evacuation, at least for people within a half mile of the plant. Now, if people are looking for a place to go, I believe First Baptist Church in Nederland is taking in people who had to leave their homes as a precaution for this plant explosion. But again, fire crews are still obviously trying to put this fire out as quickly and as safely as they can. I believe an hour ago they had put water on it originally. So that's the latest I got for you guys. I'll send it back to you.
All right, great job out there, Tyler. Of course, we're talking about the smoke that's now in the air. The big concern is where is all that plume of black smoke going?
Yeah, let's go to Jeff again, monitoring those conditions. Jeff, what's the latest on the direction?
The winds are out of the north, so that smoke plume is going off towards the south. And you saw Tyler was south of the plant, and that smoke plume was going right overhead. So we'll continue to see those north winds, not only this morning, but through the afternoon, a north and northeasterly wind basically coming in for this morning. Right now, anywhere between about 10 to 15 miles per hour. As we take a look at the plant that's up there towards Port Neches, so that smoke plume is going to be heading almost due south, down just to the west of Groves, to the west of Port Arthur, it looks like. If we get a little bit of an easterly component, it might be a little bit more along, say, between 136 and 347, basically the smoke plume kind of going in that direction as we go through not only this morning, but like I said, this afternoon. Here's a live look at the plume itself. This is from Port Arthur. We're seeing winds out of the north in Port Arthur between about 5 and 10 miles per hour. Temperatures are dropping this morning thanks to that front that went through. We had a little bit of rain this morning, especially early after that explosion. That did help the fire a little bit, but now the rain is out of the area. It's moving off towards the south and east, so we don't have any more rain in the forecast for today. We'll see a few clouds. That's about it. And then our forecast for today continues to see a north wind all the way through the afternoon. We'll start to come down a little bit as we head towards later on this afternoon, but this morning we're looking for a north wind between about 5 and 15 miles per hour. Dry day today, and temperatures hold into the 60s throughout the day, so a cooler, drier day for southeast Texas. And once again, those north winds will mean that smoke plume is going to be staying to the south. We're heading south of the plant all day long.
All right, and we want to thank our viewers too for sending in your photos, your videos. You're the eyes and ears for us here in Southeast Texas.
Yeah, I know Lauren Hensley has been gathering those and is ready to share much of what she's seeing. Good morning, Lauren.
Hey guys, good morning. Yeah, the damage just really shows the rude awakening folks awoke to this morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at the video. So we have video from the Jack in the Box in Port Neches. You can just see shards of broken glass laying there on the floor. So safe to say Jack in the Box in Port Neches probably will not be open today. And this is a home in Port Neches. The door blown off its hinges, siding falling to the ground. What a rude and chaotic awakening for so many people this morning. And having a look more at that damage, more debris on the floor, homeowners have cleanup ahead of them. Another home, this one also located in Port Neches, doors blown off the hinges, glass and debris all around, light fixtures coming out from the ceiling. So it just goes to show the force that explosion exuded, and it also shows the chaos that happened following the explosion. A lot of people waking up describing very loud sounds, describing unsure of what was going on, and just an all-around unsettling feeling after hearing that very powerful and loud explosion. People as far away as Vinton, Louisiana, and even Lake Charles reported hearing this explosion. So those images really giving you an idea of that rude awakening this morning. Our very own 12 News staff, many of us awoken to this. Mike Canizales, who lives down there in the Port Neches area, he awoke to this, and his Facebook Lives was some of the first images we received about the refinery fire, or the fire at the plant, seeing those flames and that black plume of smoke. So guys, keep those images coming in. We want to hear from you. Describe what you felt. Let us know if your home sustained any damage. We're hearing that in the main street of Port Arthur, some of those businesses sustaining damage as well. The newly opened Avenue Coffee Shop, broken glass. Homeowners are going to have to, or excuse me, business owners are going to have to clean up after that as well. So keep those images coming in, and as that sun is coming up, we're getting a better look of the damage and assessing that damage throughout the area. Guys, I'm going to send it back to you.
Thank you, Lauren. She's been here for a while now, helping us gather some information and get some of these viewer photos for us. So thank you, Lauren, for that. We're actually getting some new footage in right now from the air.
KHOU, our sister station there in Houston. This is from their chopper from overhead. Of course, this quickly made national news as soon as it broke. I mean, a plant explosion, everybody's worst fear, right? And here on Chemical Row, where there's so many plants, and their worst concern this morning as people were waking up as what caused it. Were there fatalities? How many hurt? And of course, We have learned 3 injuries, no fatalities. That's the great news. We still don't know what caused this explosion, though. It was one major explosion, a couple of smaller ones after that, and we have heard multiple explosions since. Again, we were told by the PC or TPC group that it was in their south unit. That's all we know. Their processing unit there for a couple of chemicals, butylene and hydrocarbons. They say it could be a mix of that. It could be butadiene, which we were reporting earlier, which is a chemical used for rubber, for plastics, for tires, for many of the products that you use every day, and it can be dangerous in high concentrations. So that huge plume of black smoke, that's the concern right now. Putting out the flames completely, that's the concern. The good news is all the employees were evacuated safely. Nobody around the surrounding area was injured. Of course, there are first responders on the scene. That's their concern as well. Their focus is protecting the safety of the first responders and the public and minimizing any further impact to the environment.
Right, and again, TCEQ is there monitoring the air. They keep telling us that so far all results have come back normal. And if you can, keep your windows closed. Don't go outside if you don't have to. But all the shelters in place that we were mentioning earlier in the morning, those have been lifted for the city of Groves, also a portion of Orange County near Interstate 10 that the Orange County Judge Judge Gauthier
Thanks for
issued
joining
earlier
me,
this morning. That's
Brandon.
been lifted. So all shelters in
As a
place
matter of
have
fact,
been lifted.
it
The only
does.
concern really right
And we're
now
talking,
is the area surrounding the plant, a 1/2 mile
and we are talking about
evacuation, and there is
in
a
Southeast
shelter set up at
Texas.
First Baptist Church in
We're
Marion
talking
if you don't have a
about
place to
this
go
is
right now.
going
This is
on
not
95 miles
just the
east
aerial
of
pictures.
Houston.
I'm just
Has
thankful that that
this
flame
explosion,
fireball is gone that we
and
saw
this is
all
a
morning
live
with the
shot
flame of
from
that star just simply on
12
fire. So
News,
at this point,
ABC
it's
and
very obvious. But now that
NBC
blast is
affiliate
just billowing into
based
the air,
on
it's likely
Belmont,
that the air
Texas.
quality will change in the next couple of hours. But so far, as we
This
mentioned, the
explosion
TCEQ
occurred
is
around
saying that
1
they're
a.m.
following closely.
Central
They've taken the
Time,
samples. They've taken
2
samples of the
a.m. New York
material. It
time.
is good news. The shelters in place
But
have been
we
lifted.
we
But again, if
first
you don't
got
want to be
word
out in
of
that
it
debris
around
area,
5:30 in the
don't do it,
morning,
right? Or if you want to move farther away from the
and
scene,
around
let's move
5:45 we
fast.
have
That's the big
been
concern this morning. And then
live
after, trying to figure out
since.
exactly what caused
And
the
here's
explosion
what
so
we
we can
have:
prevent it from
three
happening again. And
employees of the
agencies are
plant were
probably
injured.
evaluating to see if there's further cause for this
Unfortunately,
and
no
prevent this from
fatalities.
happening.
Right, and again, as you mentioned
Shelters
to us from
in
Versus
place
Interstate
has
10,
been lifted,
KHOU,
but
just
if a person
amazing
lives
to
a
see
half a
the
mile
difference between living
away
here
from the
and being in
plant,
the air. You can
they
get a
still
really
under
clear
mandatory
picture of
evacuation.
different areas,
But
between the different
unfortunately,
fires
it didn't happen
there at the
in
plant.
New
So,
York State.
and the smoke that it's creating is just billowing into
And
the
we
air.
did
A big
some
concern in that area,
research
but
on
the
Apple
first
Maps.
responders are on top of this right now. The TPC group is on top of this right now. They had their
The
emergency response
TPC
plan in place.
plant
They said it
is
seemed to be
located
working.
on
They
State
immediately
Road
requested assistance from
336
area fire
and
departments,
Route
police departments,
136
Huntsman, which is
in
nearby,
the
and they've
city,
all
in the
worked together.
location, in the
Transit is on
locality
there
of Port
in a worst case
Neches.
scenario, and they are continuing to work on this now going into 6 hours after that explosion.
Yeah, I have to
Look
mention
at
the
that,
other one quick.
six
Again, this is at
hours.
136 and 366. If you're wondering, in Port Neches, right near the high school, Port Neches High School, you probably know where that is. The Market Basket was affected. Neches Federal Credit Union was affected. Port Neches High School had windows blown out. So, and many of your homes as well. Many of you reporting damages, sending in video and pictures of damage that happened at your home. So, the good news is no serious injuries except for one burn victim from the plant. We don't know the significance of those burns, though. We don't know how significant, how extensive those injuries are. But we were told 3 injuries, 3 people injured at the plant. One of them with a broken arm, the other one released from the hospital, and then the third that had to be flown out with some burns.
And as we enter the 7 o'clock hour, I'm signing off. Jordan Williams will come on to replace me to be here with Tracy. We're going to continue our wall-to-wall coverage here with you. We are not leaving your side here on 12 News. We're going to be on air, online, also on social media. So stay with us as we continue this ongoing situation in Port Neches.
All right, Jordan, come on over here. And of course, you have been monitoring many of our viewers' questions. A lot of people have a lot of questions about what's happening, and you are verifying what is true, what is not true, some of the facts around the situation. I guess the biggest concern right now is whether or not it's contained and what people are breathing in this morning.
Yeah, and as we are, as Vanessa underscored, going to stay with you on the air this morning just after 7 a.m. Obviously, a lot of you waking up looking for the Today Show and looking for GMA, but we believe because of the intensity of this fire that it is still burning. Again, you are looking live, Port Neches this morning, and that is what is left of the TPC plant that has been burning since the initial explosion around 1 a.m. And Tracy, you really underscore, first off, that this is still a pretty large fire. I mean, this is not just contained to one part of that facility. Live pictures from our sister station, KHOU, as the chopper zooms out, you can see, looks like several different parts of the plant burning.
Right, and they did confirm, Sarah Cornyn confirmed with us earlier that it was their south unit. It makes you wonder if it didn't then just hop to other areas, or if that's all just the south unit there, but it is multiple fires at this point that you can see burning. It does make me feel better that the fireball is not quite as significant as it was earlier, but that huge plume of black smoke, not fun to look at there as it billows through the air.
You know, Jeff's been updating us. The wind's now out of the north thanks to the front that came through, so that's pushing the plume to the south, right? And I know you're watching this with us as well, not just from the chopper's vantage point, but also from our Skycam over at Marport Arthur.
Yeah, and you can see that plume is off towards the west of Port Arthur. Looks like it's right
Good
between,
morning, Andy.
what's it, 136
I've
feet
been
there, so
covering breaking
it's what,
news
a
for
highway
Port
65
Neches,
over. So
Texas.
it's going to continue to
That
build. Now, we do see the
refinery
plant,
plant
and when those dark winds
had
fall
an
strong,
explosion.
we'll see that plume staying to
I've
the
been
south
covering
as we
this
go through
basically
this morning into this afternoon until the
since
fire is put out.
What is the wind
around
speed?
6 a.m.
We go to the graphic on the computer, you can see the
And
wind speed. Right
I'm
now, you can see
using
down there in Port Arthur about
Belmont
110. And as we look at the computer, anywhere between about
ABC
5 and 15
and
miles per
NBC
hour we see those
affiliate,
winds
and I'm gonna
blowing
stay
for
on
this
for
morning. They'll
another
come down a
30
little bit this
minutes.
afternoon. But once again, we'll go to this graphic. I've been showing this morning. And we are looking at that smoke plume pretty much right there between 347 and 136. It might drift a little bit more towards 347 with a little bit more of a northeasterly wind at times. But generally, the smoke plume is going to be kind of right in this area here as those north winds blow. And we'll continue to see that, like I said, throughout the day. The winds are not going to change now that the fronts pass through. So we'll see that smoke plume kind of right in that area as we go through this afternoon. Like I said, until the fire's eventually out.
Okay, that's a good look at the direction there, Jeff. Thank you, of where this smoke is blowing. Again, 7:04 as you wake up with us on what is certainly far from a normal Wednesday morning here in Southeast Texas. We have heard people as far north as, say, Evadale, places like Lake Charles, awakened by this blast minutes before 1 this morning.
Yeah, including your parents. Was their home damaged?
No, thankfully. They're about a mile away, closer to Ridgewood Elementary, I understand.
But they heard it. It woke them up?
Yes. And they evacuated and headed up to my house in Beaumont and made sure I was up and obviously got into the station here this morning. We're so glad that at this point that the injuries were not any more severe to anyone who was working at the plant. Again, as you look to the right of your screen, those are live pictures right now of the facility, the TPC plant right there in Magnolia and Merriman, just blocks from the high school in the heart of Port Neches, still burning this morning with those 3 confirmed injuries, including that one person who had to be flown from here in Southeast Texas. We're working, Tracy, to find out whether that victim was taken to, say, a burn unit in Galveston or one of the Houston hospitals.
Right, and I think the initial thought was that they were going to fly them to Houston. That was their
Sorry,
plan.
Andy.
Initially,
Is
they didn't know
that
how many to
I've
expect,
been
how many employees may
awake
have been injured, and they
since
had set up
5 something in the morning,
plan was to
and
fly them to Houston because
this
they're thinking next of
explosion made
well, kind of introduced them to
nationwide
thank goodness there wasn't
news,
we
and
don't
I
have a state
decided to
exposure,
look to the
but we do the
most
best for that
local
employee. As
source.
we've been doing all morning long, we have team coverage out near the plant, and our Rachel Keller has been working overnight gathering information out there as daylight starts to come in. Good morning, Rachel. What do you have this morning?
Good morning, Tracy and Jordan. As the sun starts to peak up a little bit, we can now assess some of the damage and what we're dealing with here and what Port Neches residents are coming back to after they evacuated. This is right across the street from the TPC plant here on Merriman Street. Roger Wallace has lived in this home for over 10 years. And as we take a
Wow,
look
look
at
at
what we're
that.
dealing with here, inside, you can see glass shattered across his living room. The windows, there were two windows, looks like a total of four, two on each side, completely blew out. You can literally look straight through. The window has blown, cracked windows. The blinds fell off of his windowsill here, just laying on the floor. He says even damage from the door in his laundry room inside of the home. There's just so much damage here. And Roger here evacuated this morning right after 1 o'clock.
Yes, we got out of here when it first went off. We loaded up and we got out of here. And when it started dying down is when I came back. Yeah.
And you've been back for how long?
Probably about 3 hours. Yeah.
So this morning, take us through the moments. Take us through what you saw, what you heard.
Well, when it went off, I thought I thought my house blew up. Basically, I thought my hot water heater, my attic had blown up, and when I opened the door, all I saw was red from fire coming through the window in the other bedroom. And then that's when my daughter came out of that room. And at that point, I said, load up, you, Matt, and Emma, get out of here. And I was right behind them. And everybody else in the complex was doing the same thing, never getting out of here.
And what was your children's reaction to what happened this morning?
Yeah, everybody was calm and got things together and got out of here, but it was pretty dicey there for a little bit. Yeah, wondering what was going on.
Yeah, we're taking a look at just how unbelievable this damage is here, and I'm seeing it really along this entire street as we head into the holiday. It's just unfortunate.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I've talked to several friends of mine that live down the street there a little ways, and everybody's got some kind of damage. It's we live. This is where we live, and this is what we have to deal with sometimes. And it's unfortunate that it's happened at any time, but here at the holidays, it's but we're going to pick up. We're going to be all right. Nobody's hurt. We're good.
That's the great thing about some of these residents that I've been talking to here in Port Neches. I'm hearing that, repeated pattern of, you look at all of this damage and everything on the floor and having to throw out their belongings, but they all say the same thing. They're saying they're just so thankful that everyone's okay, their families are safe, and they were able to get out in time, and also that no one lost their life after what happened this morning. We heard multiple reports of folks hearing really loud explosions, and still this morning as we head into our 7 o'clock hour, still hearing some loud noises. So just a lot of folks here on this street, as well in the surrounding areas, are just thankful that everyone is safe. Live in Port Neches, Rachel Keller, 12 News.
Rachel, I want to get you to do a little bit of a perspective for us. I understand are you at the townhomes on Merriman, where if your photographer spins around, we would literally see the other side of the smoke plume? Can you do that for us?
Absolutely. This is literally right across the street from the plant that is still burning as we speak. So this is the type of damage that we're dealing with, being this close to the plant. I would say just a little bit past a quarter of a mile away from the smoke and the flames still burning. Can you imagine what these folks had to wake up to? A home right next to Mr. Wallace's, the door in the second floor is blown out, and he says that that was someone's bedroom. So someone was waking up this morning to an explosion, and their bedroom door literally ripped off the hinges.
Incredibly scary. And Rachel mentioned this. Thank you so much for that live look at the damage there, just across the street from the TPC plant. Growing up in places like Port Neches, I mean, these refineries, these chemical plants are in a lot of our backyards.
Yeah, as
And
he
you
was
know
mentioning.
you know about the threat.
Right.
It's where you live, but
Yeah.
still, it does not make something like this any easier.
No, and it's always in the back of your mind, and that's when you, as a plant worker, a lot of these kids grow up saying, "I'm going to work in a plant. It's a great job, it pays a great wage." But there's the reason why it does is because there's this big danger. And when I woke up this morning hearing this, I mean, my heart sank, and I thought, please don't let there be fatalities. And that's what every worker that goes day to day to the plants, their families have in the back of their mind, and the folks that live near those plants as well.
And it's a good reminder. I mean, the plants brought a lot of us and our families here, whether it was a generation ago or a century ago. These plants built Southeast Texas. I always knew this one as the old Neches butane plant,
Exactly.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it became Huntsman, and I guess now
Huntsman
latest
West,
the Huntsman
right?
West, and the
Mm-hmm.
latest iteration owned by the TPC plant group. So these are live pictures as you wake up. It is 7:12 on this Wednesday morning, and you are looking at what is left of this facility, still filled with flames and with a lot of black smoke. Winds out of the north, blowing that smoke almost in a direction due to the south, kind of away from Port Neches. From what I could see, almost looks like it's paralleling Spur 136, which eventually takes you over to Twin City. But it's just incredible to watch this.
Yeah, and we are learning some new information. Just moments ago, we did tell you there were 3 injuries, right? 2 of them minor injuries, a broken arm, and then another employee that was released from the hospital. The third was a burn victim, and we weren't sure where they were flown. We still don't know the extent of their injuries, but we do know that they were taken to Memorial Hermann Baptist Hospital in Beaumont.
In Beaumont, okay.
Is where they were flown, is what I believe that to be. I'll double check, but Memorial Hermann is what they've reported. And then a news conference is coming up at 8:30 this morning, and that's where we will learn further information, hopefully learn exactly what caused this explosion. We're not sure if they're able to determine that yet. Maybe they won't be able to until they're able to completely put out all the flames to get in there and see what happened. But what we do know is that it happened at the South Unit, a processing unit at TPC in Port Neches, next to the hospital there. I mean, next to the high school there, 136 and 366 in Port Neches. And it happened around 1 o'clock this morning. Again, no fatalities. That's the big takeaway. The shelter in place has been lifted for the city of Groves and the surrounding area.
As you look at these live pictures again from our sister station, KHOU, the helicopter flying over Port Neches this morning, we want to talk a little about what may be burning. And we've been working to verify. We've spoken with a representative for the TPC plant. There are a number of chemicals that are used at this facility, butadiene being the most serious of those. It is a colorless gas with a gasoline-like odor that is used to produce synthetic rubber products, including tires. So no one has officially said, yes, this is all butadiene burning, but it certainly appears that that could be probable. This is a large part of the plant that is still at this point filled with smoke and filled with all these flames.
Right, we are getting some new information into us from TPC. There again,
For
butadiene
those
has some
joining us
symptoms
right now at
that have
8:15 in the
chest
morning,
cough,
good morning
sneezing,
from
have nausea
Brooklyn, New York. We are
associated with
following
breathing
breaking
levels.
news since
So
early
just
this
into us
morning
from
regarding
TPC
an
just moments ago was
explosion
a
at
unfortunately the
a
event resulted events this morning resulted in
refinery
injuries.
in
2
Port
employees, one
Neches,
contractor at the
Texas.
site was injured. That person was
And we are
transported to
using the
Richland
feed
Texas
of
Regional Medical Center, and Team
KBMT
Memorial Hermann
that is
was
based
there
in
to
Belmont,
be reported to
Texas.
Memorial Hermann In Houston,
we
for example,
have that three people are
they say that they're
injured.
focused on
No
community
fatalities,
support for residents.
unfortunately.
No word on the extent
Uh,
of those burns, but that's what we
the
hear. One
shelters
employee is being treated for burns at Memorial Hermann in
that
Houston.
were
They
in
say at this time they
place
cannot
in
speak about the
the
cause of
nearby
the incident
areas
or the extent
were
of the
lifted
magnitude of the
as
Any new
of
burns.
information
7
about the
o'clock
burn?
this morning.
They
But
say that they are,
still, if you
they did
live
not report the
at
magnitude. They
least
did tell us
half
that
a
there
mile
could be a
away from the
mixture
plant,
of butylene and
you're
hydrocarbons.
under
Again,
a
butadiene is the most
mandatory
significant concern.
evacuation.
The Office of Emergency Management,
So,
Mike White, saying that
in
that's
around,
their reason. They're saying they're treating it as if butadiene is what's
and
causing
what
the
is
syncopation because
burning
that's the more significant
is
of the chemicals that they produce there, the most dangerous.
butan,
TPC also says that it's
butadiene.
working with insurance, with its
And
insurance provider, to
we've been
establish
doing
a claims
some
process at this
research
point. So if you're
regarding
understanding,
this.
your big concern at this point is probably how do I
And
fix
what
this
is
and where do I
used
file that
or
claim?
what
So they have
is
confirmed this
made
to us
of
that they are establishing a claims
that
process at this
chemical
time
component.
for area for all the area
This
residents
is
who are going to be
butene
impacted by
is
that. And as
valuable
soon as we
component
have
used
that
in
feedback,
wide
we
range
of course will get that out to you.
market applications,
Further
which
information from
include
Neches today
synthetic
here.
rubber for
Tracy, I was just
tires
reading the statement we received
and
from the
hoses,
ABC Group
nylon for
about this morning's
carpeting,
explosion.
clothing and
And
airbags,
her
latex for
subsequent
paper
smaller
coating,
explosions that
and
have continued
carpet
through the evening.
backing.
Through the morning here. Again, new information about the employees. Two employees and a contractor. The contractor, as I understood, was the one who had the more serious injuries, the burns. He was flown to Memorial Hermann in Houston. Again, all the areas that we have to plan for as we work to verify more information about this breaking news this evening.
All right, let's check in with Jeff again to find out about the weather conditions. Earlier, we did have some significant rain, and we were hoping that that would help to put out the fire. That has since moved out of the area. Now the big concern is how much will that wind continue to spur and to fan the flames there and to move that toxic smoke throughout the area. Right now, they're saying that the air quality is good, normal. We don't know if that will change, but let's check in with Jeff.
Yeah, we had a front move through overnight. Actually, the front, it was still north of the area when the explosion happened. So for a little while there, we have a little bit of a south wind and taking that initial smoke plume up into parts of Orange County. But since then, front has moved
By
to the
the way,
west, gave
Andy,
a
the
little bit of
link
rain
that
to the
I sent
fire.
you,
That helped a little
that's
bit,
the
but not a whole lot.
component that
And
is
now the front
burning.
is in the Gulf of Mexico, and so is the rain. The rain is out of here. Right now, winds are blowing out of the north behind the front anywhere between about 5 and 15 miles per hour. We will see these wind speeds come down a little bit this afternoon, but for the most part this morning, kind of holding steady between about 10 to 15 miles per hour. As we take a look at the area right now, Port Neches is the top of the map here, and that smoke plume, since we are getting a north wind, that smoke plume is going to continue to the south, and that's going to be probably right in between 136 and 347 or somewhere in this direction as we go throughout the day. If we get a little bit more of a northeasterly wind, maybe a little bit more over towards 347 as we go through later on this morning
Yes,
into this
Andy,
afternoon. So that's
indeed
the
is
area where
a
we're going to see this
chemical
smoke
plant.
plume. And you can see it here on our Port Arthur live Skycam network, that smoke plume off towards the west of Port Arthur and continues pretty much right over the same area that we've been seeing over the last couple hours as those winds kicked in out of the north. Our forecast for today is going to continue with that north wind between about 5 and 15. We'll see the winds come down a little bit by this afternoon. Because of the front, we'll see temperatures dropping back into the 60s, and we'll stay in the 60s throughout the day. Dry forecast today, dry forecast for Thanksgiving. We will have some rain over the weekend. We'll be talking about that but later on this morning. But right now, continue to see that north wind keeping that smoke plume south of the plant or moving south of the plant all day long.
All right, and of course, many of you have been sending in your pictures, your videos to us on Facebook. We also have some Snapchat pictures that we'd like to show you now this morning from some of our area viewers.
We'll flip through some of these, and of course, this was earlier in the middle of the night as you really saw just that ball of fire filling the sky at 1 a.m. And we're going to flip through some of these others. Again, these are people's posts. And we're seeing these for the first time as well. So scary.
Yeah, and this is at a time where people weren't sure what was happening.
Or which facility, right?
Exactly.
And you think of all of our loved ones who have connections to so many of the different petrochemical facilities here in Southeast Texas.
And that last one, it looked like somebody was driving in their car. what was going through their head, as this happened, as they were driving the streets, or maybe they heard it, saw it, and then decided, let's go,
And
set their road.
exactly, it may have been one of the families,
And
like
I
the folks
know
that Rachel
here
worked with,
it's
just
gonna be
visiting with, less
5:57
than a
this
quarter mile,
morning
right there on Merriman.
when
You look
I
out their front
received
doors
the
and see
initial
parts of the plant.
notification about
And like they
this.
told Rachel, they realized this was one that they needed to get out from. They
Sure.
needed to go after hearing how large and seeing how large it was this
Right,
morning.
because you don't know if another one is to come, right? If it will spread further or go to the surrounding plants, or I mean, you hate to think about it, but initially you think, could this have been an attack of some sort? How did it catch on fire? What caused the explosion? Of course, that's not what we believe happened here. But your initial thought is, will it happen again? Just like with the World Trade Center, when the first one went down, you thought, oh, accident. And then another one came and you said, okay, it's not. So when in times like this, you can't help but let your mind go there. And so until you get further information, sometimes you just panic. And some of these families shaken this morning, literally and figuratively, but as their homes rattled and they weren't sure what was happening. Judge Jeff Brannock said his wife rushed into him and thought somebody was shooting up his house.
Yeah,
So
go
he
get the
grabbed his
gun.
gun.
Go
He
get the
grabbed his
gun.
gun and ran to the door.
We've been in touch with Judge Brannick throughout the morning. We've also been hearing at times and getting information on field crews from Mike White, who is the emergency management coordinator for Jefferson County. So many various agencies are now coming into Port Neches, providing mutual aid, providing backup for the crews who have been on scene all night.
Yeah, and even the
I know it's
neighboring plant,
crazy.
Huntsman,
Even we
went
have
into action. They
flooding
weren't impacted,
in
but they jumped into
another
action
station of
and went over to
Washington
help fight the fire,
Metro.
and they are continuing to do that, as well as the Port Neches Fire Department. They had an emergency response plan, which all of these plants do. This was part of it, and as Sarah Cornyn was telling us this morning, you never want this to happen, but when it does, best case scenario here, right? Get everybody in, try to maintain or contain the fire, try to put it out as quickly as possible, and get personnel out, which they were able to do.
Here's another look, live video from our sister station, KOTU, their helicopter flying over the plant. You can see there in the foreground one of the other parts of the facility. I mean, this is the old Air Liquide. This is sort of on the northeastern quadrant off of Magnolia there. And then TPC, as I understand it, has the rest of the facility, which borders Magnolia and Spur 136. If you're used to making that drive through Port Neches, and folks forgive me, I did never worked at one of these plants, but I grew up driving past this, going all the time to P&G.
Yeah.
And you remember those kind of iconic white circular tanks that you see
I'm
on the
sending
upper
you
right-hand corner of your screen.
the link of the local affiliate that I'm following.
Burning right now.
Just in case if you wanna chime in.
Farther back within the plant. TPC told us, their spokesperson, that this started at the south unit. The trouble there around 1 a.m. this morning. And we also watched the black smoke, and that leads to all kind of concerns about what is in it, and are there perhaps hydrocarbons of some sort? Maybe there's some sort of crude mixed in. This was earlier video. I think Rachel took this around 5 a.m. Before the sun came up, and you could see the start of that plume there this morning.
Yeah, and the concern is, what are you breathing in? Again, the TCEQ has said that right now they're measuring the air quality. It is normal. But once again, if it is butadiene going into the air, you don't want to breathe it in, and there can be long-term effects, cardiovascular problems, even cancer. And that's part of living around a plant, is those concerns can happen. And so they are monitoring it, of course, trying to put it out as quickly as possible. But if you feel lightheaded, if you feel nauseous, if you feel dizzy, those are some of the symptoms of just breathing in a chemical, breathing in gasoline. And the shelters in place have been lifted around the area. At one point, the entire city of Groves this morning was put under a shelter in place. They told everybody to just stay indoors. That has since been lifted, but they did evacuate the entire half-mile radius of the plant, a quarter-mile radius southwest of 136. There, as they took the precautions that they should, not knowing if they were able to extinguish it before it then did spread further. They didn't want to have any further
Oh, thanks
incidents.
for the
And
reminder
it
about
seems like everything
management.
went as planned, best that it could anyway.
no one likes to see, though, that 6.5 hours later, it's still burning.
Sure.
It's still burning. And the folks from TPC being very clear that they're working to try to bring this, what they call this event, these explosions and the fire, under control, doing that safely and quickly as they can. The air monitoring, they have their own crews working the fence line, and they also are working with neighboring fire departments and first responders to monitor the air. The only official thing that we have heard regarding the air quality, the early readings, as I understand it, was from the Port Arthur Fire Department that was monitoring the air quality near Twin City and 136, so right where the spur from the plants hits Twin City Highway 347, and those readings were good. But the last I heard, that was around I want to say 6 a.m. this morning, so that would have been an hour and a half ago. We're expecting some new information. We understand they have scheduled a news conference for 8:30, so in roughly an hour, to update us on what's going on with the firefighting efforts and their efforts to contain this.
Right, and we have a lot of people asking, what about Bridge City? What about Port Arthur? Do I need to be concerned there? There are no shelters in place at this point. Those have all been lifted. If you don't need to be out breathing it in, my recommendation is stay inside your home, right? But there is no mandatory or even voluntary evacuation except for the right surrounding that area. Stand, the emergency alerts went out for the half-mile radius around the plant. That's it. Other than that, you're not, I mean, maybe encouraged to stay indoors, but you can get out and about if you'd like to. We have one viewer here saying that smoke definitely coming across Twin City Highway, covering that area. It could cause some driving hazards as well.
Yeah.
If you're driving around this area, it may make it more difficult, so be careful if you are. We don't want it to lead to further incidents. We have a lot of viewers that said that.
That's the Skycam from Lamar, Port Arthur.
Right.
By the
So
seawall.
if you're in Port Arthur, that's what's coming.
What is that, Jeff? 8 miles probably, as the crow flies, 8 or 9, 10 miles from the plant?
From the plant, yeah, for sure.
And that is the smoke plume. The good news is, I would say at this point, if there is any, is that the wind is blowing this and it's not just sitting over one spot. I feel like we saw that with some of the Deer Park fire a year or so ago, maybe not even a year ago, in the Houston area, where we watched the plume go in different
Surrounded that
directions.
area and didn't really move too far for a long time.
Our producers say we've got some new video.
Okay.
And I understand this is of one of the Ring cameras, one of the doorbell cameras that captured the moment of the blast. So we'll watch this with you.
Yeah, we saw so many of these coming into us from people capturing it from their home cameras, their doorbell cameras, and just how significant. I mean, people, their windows just completely crashing in and their doors blown off the hinges, as we saw Rachel showing us. I mean, it looked like a tornado hit that home that she walked through, right? Those windows just blown right into that gentleman's home. Again, we want to remind you that the TPC is saying that they will be giving out an emergency number if you're like, what do I do now? I have to file insurance. How do I
What do I do? Document it. You want to clean up, but we've been through so many horrible things in recent years where you've got to document it.
Yeah, to file your claim, right? So before you start cleaning up, take plenty of pictures, and they are going to give us a hotline for the area if you were impacted, if your home suffered damages because of this, then there will be a hotline to file claims with their insurance provider.
We've been talking about the smoke plume, and it's been so significant that the smoke has been picked up by Doppler radar. I think we have a video that perhaps shows that.
Look at that.
Yeah. This was earlier, right? And Jeff, I'm going to bring you in. You're watching this with us. This must have been before the front, and it started spreading toward Orange County before the wind changed.
That's right at the explosion, because you notice at the start of the video there's nothing there, and then all of a sudden, watch, there it goes. That's the initial explosion on Doppler radar. And we had a little bit of a south wind, so that's what took the smoke up towards Orange County. That's why they put the shelter in place for a while there up in Orange County, south of I-10, till 6 o'clock. Now that the winds have shifted out of the north, that plume was changed around and is going to the south. But yeah, this is the initial explosion showing up on Doppler radar. Very sensitive radar, so you can see that smoke plume just popping up out of nowhere as that explosion happened earlier this morning.
All right, we're coming up on 7:30 this morning. As you wake up with us, we kind of want to reset and show you new pictures from our chopper, from our sister station KHOU, of the scene here in Port Neches, and update you on what we know as you wake up with us. I know a lot of you are looking for the Today Show and Good Morning America. We have chosen to stay on the air because of the severity of this situation and the fire that is still burning. 3 injured, thankfully no fatalities with this explosion that occurred, Tracy, 1 a.m. this morning roughly.
Yeah, and we do have some viewers that say that as the windows burst into their homes, they had some minor cuts, that type of thing. We did have a viewer who said that her son was working at a guard shack there and was injured slightly with some glass. Melinda's saying it was bad, blew out the windows of her home and her garage doors. We've had complete roofs come crashing in. I mean, this was significant. It was really, it was a huge blast, and then multiple after that. If you're waking up and wondering what happened and how it happened, we're still trying to learn exactly how it happened. But it happened just after 1 o'clock there at the operations.
TPC plant. What did you say? The
Unit.
South Processing Unit. The company is doing its best to keep us updated. We're expecting a news conference around 11:30 this morning. And if you're just waking up, we are sorting through this with you as we work to learn more.
Actually, I think the news conference is in about 1 hour, around about 8:30.
Yeah, that's what we're being told. Again, 3 people were hurt. We give great thanks that there were no fatalities from this, because you look at the images and your heart stops. We do know that one of the people who was injured had to be flown to Memorial Hermann in Houston, that worker, a contractor who had significant burns.
Right. All right. And Jeff is continuing to monitor it for us as well. How's the weather looking for the rest of the day, Jeff?
We're looking at dry weather, but we're going to continue to see those north winds throughout the day, and that's going to keep that smoke plume to the south. And a lot of folks wondering, okay, well, where's that plume going and what's in the plume? And we'll continue to try to figure that out. As we look at the winds right now, out of the north, anywhere between, say, 5 and 15 miles per hour. And since the front went through, it's in the Gulf of Mexico, we'll see those north winds throughout the day. Here's the plume itself from our Port Arthur Skycam network camera. And you can see it going directly south of the plant as we see winds in Port Arthur out of the north between about 5 and 10 miles per hour. So that plume is going to continue right out of the north to the south, probably right to the west or right along the 136 there, going over 347 and continue to push south of there. So that's kind of the direction we're expecting that plume to be most of the day. Our forecast for the rest of the day, just calling for dry weather. We'll see some clouds around and temperatures holding into the 60s. So a much cooler day today. And you notice there towards the bottom, north winds all day long between about 5 and 15.
All right, thanks so much, Jeff. You know, a lot of people chiming in saying that they have family members who work at these plants and how they risk their lives, every single day, and that this is their worst fear. And another person, Paul, is saying that looking at this and seeing that huge fireball and the flames there at the plant, and knowing what happened to her daughter's home, she's saying it's definitely a miracle that there's no fatalities in the plant itself.
You talk about people who were completely asleep. 1 a.m. Most of us were out, and to have windows blown in, doors blown off, roofs collapsing. We are getting the images. We have crews scanning out as they can safely in the Port Neches area. We'll be checking in, I'm sure, again with Rachel Keller, who is at some condos, apartments right there on Merriman, not far from the public library and the middle school. Roughly a quarter mile, I would guess, from this part of the plant. So we'll check in with her, because Tracy, as you said, some of the damage almost looks like a tornado.
Yeah, and viewers saying Bridge City, Orange area, and seeing the smoke as well as they're stepping outside this morning and looking to the morning sky. So, it could be significant. And, of course, we are continuing to monitor, as we mentioned earlier, the U.S. Coast Guard shut down the Sabine-Neches waterway as well to test the waters there, completely shut down, and we're not sure when that will reopen. TCQ is still monitoring the air, and they will do it for days to come to let us know the air quality, which is the big concern.
We may get more information about exactly what's burning at that news conference. Misspoke earlier, again, 8:30, so hopefully we should hear from folks around 8:30 this morning about what is burning, whether it is in fact as feared due to dying, and some of the other chemicals that are used in the production of synthetic rubber at the TPC plant in Port Neches. Again, live pictures right now. Looks like you can see in the bottom left of your screen water, bottom left and the bottom right, water being poured onto two sections of the fire.
Yeah, and that's a game changer because early on they couldn't get water to it. It was just too intense, too strong, too hot. They were able to fight it with other chemicals, that type of thing. But then just around 6-ish, they were telling us that they were finally able to get water to it. And that is really, I mean, it's really made a difference in the last hour or so to reduce the flame. So, but you can see, I mean, still burning in several spots there.
And in the center of the screen, it looks like tanks that have already burned,
Yeah.
if that's what I'm seeing kind of to the left of the tower. We just got word, by the way, the news conference has already been pushed to 9 a.m. as the folks from TPC Group, their operations, and the emergency management coordinators in Jefferson County update us.
Have to imagine how hard it is to put this out because it's a highly flammable gas. There's gas running through all of those lines, which, you know, they can't get to really until it burns itself out. Almost it's hard to contain it, right? And to get it to extinguish. So difficult scene this morning that's been burning since 1 o'clock. 6.5 hours of trying to fight that, and you feel for the first responders who were there on the scene throughout the night, you know, really fighting this, and their families worried for their safety as well.
Have you talked, and this may be a question that we haven't verified yet, are they using water or is there foam involved?
They are water at this point, but they didn't tell us exactly what they were using prior, but Mike White from the Jefferson County Emergency Management Coordinator there, he told us that at the point that they started being able to use fires or water to fight the fires, he said, we're finally using water. He didn't tell us what they were using prior, but you think some kind of either a foam or a type of chemical retardant, something like that they were able to put on it. But anyway, the more they can get to it and access it, the better. And it has significantly, as you saw there earlier from our video, I mean, it was just massive, and now it's more smoke than it is fire, which is good news.
If you are just waking up, perhaps our crew in the back can recue some of the video from overnight, because this was just an inferno in the sky when it happened around 1 o'clock this morning in Port Neches. We've been getting your videos as well. We thank you for sharing them with us. We're going through them. Some of you posting on our Facebook wall, some of you posting on our Facebook Live. That's the video from overnight when this was really intense around 1 o'clock this morning. We have actually colleagues who live in Port Neches, Tracy, and some of them captured some of the first images that we had.
Right. Our Erica Harris, her husband works at Huntsman, which is adjacent to the plant, and called her. She said, you know, we have a protocol. If something happens, he immediately calls me to let me know he's safe before I hear it in the news or, you know, panic, as many families do as soon as the plant explosion. No, that's where my loved one works. So he had called her and said, I'm okay. There was a plant explosion. And so she immediately went into action, and she was able to come here over the night hours and help to get the word out. But yes, so many of our family and friends work around that area. Your loved ones work in these plants, and it's our biggest fear to see that huge fireball light up the night sky, to feel the rumbles, to have it shake your homes, to have it damage your home. Your windows come crashing in, shattering your sleep in the middle of the night. It's just horrific and so scary, and we're very thankful at this point, no fatalities. 3 injured, one of them with burns, the most significant. They're taken to Memorial Hermann in Houston to be treated. We will continue to follow that, and we believe that's the contractor, right? There were 2 employees and a contractor.
2 employees and a contractor. That's according to the latest information from the spokesperson for TPC Group. Again, that news conference that we had been expecting at 8:30 has been pushed to 9 a.m. And these, as you look at the screen here this morning, are more of your photos and videos. Please continue sharing them with us using the hashtag 12newsnow. That way our digital team will make sure they can find them and share them with you. Our chopper feed, a bit intermittent at times. You saw it just went out there for just a second, so we'll check back with our feed from our sister station's helicopter in just a minute.
Yeah, and some people are saying, is it done? Is it, you know, is it contained? Is it safe? Not yet. Our takeaway. You see the fire still burning there. It does look like they've got a handle on it, more so than they did earlier. This is video from earlier when it was at,
At its worst.
Yeah, really at its worst. But the roads, as we were told earlier, still shut down around that area. There's still an evacuation order for the immediate half-mile radius around the plant. Other than that, the shelter in place has been lifted, and it does look like they're gaining control of the fire, but it is not extinguished yet.
12 News investigator Lauren Hensley is joining us in the studio this morning. And Lauren, throughout the morning, we've been trying to work to verify what is confirmed and what's not. A lot of information comes out in these breaking news situations. Lauren, what do you know at this point?
Yeah, Jordan, separating fact from fiction today. We're verifying information you need to know. Now, some agencies, they've been reporting that crude oil is what is burning at this plant. We have verified that's simply not true. We are being told by a TPC spokesperson that the South Processing Unit is where the fire is located, and according to the Jefferson County Emergency Management Coordinator, there's a couple of chemicals housed at that facility. His crews are treating it like the most serious butadiene, and so we have verified that it's not crude oil at this point. Now, in terms of injuries, we have verified that 2 employees and 1 contractor were injured. 1 person was flown to a hospital in Houston with burns. Now, as for air quality, this is one of the biggest questions we've gotten. Tests continue. Early testing shows that the air quality is normal, but there are continued plans to test more of the region, so we have not verified that just yet. And we plan to press TPC about this growing concern at a press conference that is expected to be held around 9 this morning. We're also digging into the company's past, looking for any violation that may have occurred over the years. And finally, a TPC spokesperson says there are plans to create a hotline for people who suffered property damage following this explosion. We've been getting several questions about how to report any damage. We're going to leave this right here in the middle column and in between verified and not verified yet, because we don't have any details as to what that hotline number is, who you're going to call. All we know is that plans are in the works to create some type of report line to report any damage your property may have suffered as a result of that explosion. So guys, we're really expecting more information to come out at this press conference. Again, that press conference is expected to get going around 9 o'clock, 9:30. We do have a crew on standby to press the company about some of the concerns you have. One of the top concerns being air quality, as well as what to do if your property, your home was damaged as a result of that explosion. So guys, we're going to continue to stay up to date, keep you up to date both online and on air. If you have any questions, do send them over to 12 News Now. We'll be happy to try and get you some answers, and keep those images coming in. Just looking at the damage, it really was an unsettling awakening for so many people. I know our 12 News employees, many of us experienced that unsettling noise early this morning as that explosion happened. So here's a look at some of that damage. You know, front doors just blown off the hinges, signs on the ground, debris, glass shattered, things like that. Right there, a light fixture coming down from the ceiling. So a very unsettling way to wake up on this Wednesday, and just one day before the holiday too. This is from the Jack in the Box. I'm being told by our reporter Jordan James that that is located off Twin Cities Highway. So a lot of damage sustained there. And then take a look at this home. This home is on Main Street in Port Neches. Again, these are viewer videos and pictures sent to us. Siding just toppling off, as well as shattered glass on the ground. So as that sun is starting to come up, folks are really waking up. They're assessing the damage. They're figuring out what happened. And this is the library in Port Neches. So folks are going to have a long cleanup ahead of them. We did reach out to a spokesperson with Port Neches Groves ISD. We haven't heard back. Luckily, the kids are off today. We do know that the school sustained some damage. So we're trying to figure out what the game plan is after Thanksgiving break, if it will be business as usual for those students, or if there'll be a major cleanup that needs to happen. So as that sun is coming up, folks are really getting a good look at their damage. They're assessing what happened, what needs to be fixed, and we're expecting out of that 9:30 press conference for there to be information about a hotline available for you to report any property damage. So stick with 12 News. We're online, we're on the air, we're on Facebook Live, and we're working to get you the information you need to know. So keep those images coming in, as well as those viewer questions. We're working to get them answered for you. All right, I'm going to send it back to Tracy and Jordan at the desk.
All right, great job, Lauren. And as we mentioned before, as you know, dealing with the insurance from hurricanes, take pictures before you start cleaning up the debris. You want to get it cleaned up. You want to get the glass out of your living room. Just make sure that you document every single thing, because if you file with your homeowners, if you wait for the hotline from the plant, or if you do both, you just got to have those pictures. You got to have the damage there documented. Also, a lot of people chiming in this morning. Dustin saying it blew his back door off the hinges, blew out all the windows, and my ceiling fell in. Also, Julianne saying from she felt it in Pine Forest North Vider this morning. That's quite a jaunt from there as well. Dale says he works in Jordan's Bayou, Louisiana. He heard and felt the explosion at his plant. He said that's quite a hike, but it felt like it was just down the road. So, I mean, this was a huge explosion just after 1 o'clock. If you woke up wondering what it was,
This was a
Mauriceville, folks there saying they heard it. A lot of people saying they were praying for those in the community. Lily says that about 1:10, she was woken from her sleep. She heard a loud noise like somebody had run into her home. She thought maybe her home had been hit by a car. So, yeah, very just it's surprising how far away people felt the impact of this explosion.
It's 7:45 as you look at some of the damage with you. A quick reset if you were just joining us. Again, we know 3 people were hurt. These were all employees of the plant, as we understand it. Two actual TPC employees, the third a contractor, and that third suffered burns and had to be flown to a Houston hospital, Memorial Hermann in Houston. We want to bring in meteorologist Jeff Gerber right now, and Jeff has been tracking the wind from this smoke plume. The chopper's up, Jeff, and this thing is still going.
Yeah, and it's going
All
strong.
right, we have
Fire there.
more than enough
Trying to get some more
um
smoke plume continues to go to the
of
south.
this
Well,
breaking
it was
news
successful
story,
this morning around 1 o'clock.
but we're gonna
Smoke plume actually
continue
got
monitoring it
broken to the
throughout the
southwest,
day
but with a front coming through overnight,
today
that kicked our
to
winds
see
out
what
of it,
else
and we'll continue to see
do
those
we
north winds not only
have.
this morning but through the afternoon. So
So
that smoke plume is going to continue to be from the plant going southward. You can see.
it's 8:47 right now. Let's do a mini transit update, shall we? For those who are in New York City. Let's go to my email here very quick. We have 3 updates. We have 3 unread emails. Okay, we have on Metro North, the Hudson, Harlem, and New Haven lines are currently experiencing residual delays inbound between up to 10 minutes due to circuit issues near Melrose. Let's see if we have anything else. Okay, we have southbound 2 and 3 trains are holding in stations while we get medical assistance for a passenger at 72nd Street. And we have northbound A trains are proceeding with delays after a customer refused allowed the train doors to close at Broadway Junction, East New York. We have an update regarding the 2 and the 3. Okay, they're proceeding with delays after someone needed medical attention at 72nd Street. So it is 8:49 right now. We want to thank everybody that joined us since 5:57. It is 8 for 8:50 right now. We will be continuing to monitor this news closely. So for now, thank you for joining us and enjoy your Wednesday.